Welcome to Wednesday Night Live from the Basement. Here's your hosts, Rob, Daryl, and Joe.
Welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday night. I'm Rob. That's Joe. There's no Daryl. And Tim's back this week. How you doing, guys?
Good.
How's it going?
I changed up my surroundings a little bit.
I was going to say the weather looks nice in Regina. Not too much smoke from the forest fires today?
Not today. No, it was insane Friday, Saturday, a little bit Sunday, but no, today's been okay. So I cleaned up the yard a bit and washed my work van, washed my personal car, and then thought, you know what, let's try this outside because it is kind of nice out. The wind's not up, and I can sit and watch Joanne work in the garden. So, I'm not sure if that's good or not, but.
And without feeling any guilt that you're not helping her?
No, I've done lots today, right, hon? Yeah, she says yes. So okay. I did do lots today and Monday.
So you did your work, so now you're allowed to play with your friends.
Now I'm allowed to play with my friends. Exactly. And nice to have Tim back. Tim, how's things?
Yeah, good to see you guys again. It's too much fun. Yeah, no, I'm good. Weather here is pretty good too. 32 degrees, a little bit humid, but it's a long time coming because Ottawa's been crap weather, just crap.
Yeah. That's no good.
That's good, yeah. But I have pulling weeds today too, and
I did none of that today.
I took the kid to Dairy Queen, and yeah, it's good.
Ooh,
good afternoon.
Nice. I worked my ass off right here in this spot. My wife had a whole bunch of yard work, but I worked my ass off. So, Chris, good morning. Well, it's the middle of the night there for you, isn't it? Almost. It's like I don't know, midnight-ish or 10 o'clock-ish. I don't know. No, it is morning for you. It's like, what's England, 6 hours? So that's, well, he's Wales, but that's like 2 o'clock in the morning. So yeah, good morning. There we go. Trevor, how you doing, man?
Anything? Hey, Trev.
And Richard. Thunderstorm from heck rolling over as we speak. We had thunderstorm warnings here, and it blew right past us. We got nothing. So, there you go, 1 a.m. Okay. That was close. That was close. So, what's going on? Anything exciting?
No, not a whole bunch, really. Like I said, it's been nice here. So, as far as personal life, non-record related stuff, like I said, working on the yard, doing that kind of stuff. Record related stuff, shop's been steady. Not crazy, but steady. It slows down a little bit in the summer, I think, is what it's going to be, right? So, plus it was really crappy here for a few days. Like it was horrible because of the fires, and not complaining because we have got the least of the problems when it comes to the fires. Because there are
that's
parts
you don't have any trees. That's why.
Yeah, no, we do, but. But thankfully we don't really have anything major burning around us, but there are parts of Saskatchewan that it's just horrific. Like there's a town called La Ronge, which is a little bit north of Waskesiu, which I think maybe people kind of know. It's a national park. I think it's gone. I think it's like Jasper last year. It's one of those where, the old historic buildings have been burnt and the people have been losing their homes and stuff. So, not to be a downer, but like I said, so when I complain about smoke, it is what it is. It is the least of the problems that are going on. So
it could be worse. You could be in Manitoba right now. So
yeah, Manitoba's bad too, up by Flin Flon and everything up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Tim, Chris is putting the pressure on it.
I know, eh?
He's got high expectations.
It's okay. There's always going to be a story or two. Always.
Just tell Chris to sod off.
Yeah. It's been crazy here in Ottawa with the King coming, and then
that was awesome.
The Canada Day concert here.
Yeah.
I laughed because it's like the Northern Revolution's all-star band,
Isn't it though?
Tom Cochrane.
Yeah.
What was it? Amanda Marshall.
Yeah.
Talk, which I'm a fan. He's good.
Yeah.
And who's the other one I'm missing? There's another big one. Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah,
Sarah, yeah.
We're already doing it too, but they're in a different city. It's going to be simulcast from. They're somewhere out east.
Blue Rodeo is in PEI. I know that.
PEI, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned Talk, and I enjoy the songs that I've heard by. Have you seen him? Because I think he was at Blues Fest last year, right?
Yeah, I've seen him live. Yeah.
And good? Voice holds up?
He's good. He sounds like he does on the record, and yeah. His band is like his band is not too, you know, and animated and stuff, but
Sure. No, I get
he's
that. Yeah.
good. But he's good. Yeah.
Right on. That's good. That's good.
That's
Because remember, if I think of something, I have to say it because
Let her
and we'll forget. I watched the Bono show last night on Apple, and I don't know. We haven't talked about it. Did you watch it?
I haven't
yet?
seen it yet. No.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's Bono. You have to be a fan because it's him. But it is very good. I'm not going to give any spoilers away. He does sing a little bit, and I think you've seen that in the clips. But I enjoyed it. So, Chris, man, there you go. There is your thing to watch. It's "Songs of Surrender" by Bono. It's good. I enjoyed it. Hour and a half. Very good. He does a nice job. Again, you got to be a Bono fan because he's very well. He's not political Bono, but he's Bono, if that makes sense. And I think once you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So,
how does it relate to their his Songs of Surrender book and the Songs of Surrender albums? Is it like what is the substance of that special?
The gist of it is basically it's the telling from the start up until Actun Baby ish. And I mean other parts with his mom and dad and things like that. So it's formation of and things like that. So I didn't know. I don't know if it's an existing book or if it's a book that is currently out because he kind of talks about it being a little bit
already.
Like a bit of a
year or two ago,
like a book tour, kind of.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I would recommend. I know for sure for yourself, and I think even if you're the casual, it's well done. It's well shot. It's well filmed. It's well edited. I think you'd enjoy it. I think you'd enjoy it for sure, and I think others would as well. So yeah.
Okay.
I saw he was on Joe Rogan this week or last week.
Yeah, something like
he was on there for 2 or 3 hours. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but
no, I didn't either.
I can't bring myself to listen to.
I can't listen to Bono for 3 hours.
I can't listen to
Joe Rogan.
I don't know if I could listen to Bono for 3 hours unless he's singing the whole time. But yeah, I guess I kind of got him for 2 hours at the Sphere. But anyway,
that's a little different. He's singing. To listen to him talk, he's awfully full of himself. So.
Oh yeah, 100%. But again, I enjoyed it though. So
he doesn't know how to handle celebrity like we do.
Exactly. That's right.
We're modest,
That's right.
We entertain tens of people a week.
That's right. Exactly.
So.
You guys haven't mentioned my flamingo. You haven't even asked his name.
Is it a his or is it a hers?
I don't know. I just thought of it. I just thought of bringing it up because I saw it in the picture. So, but
did you place that there especially for this evening, or is that where it normally lives?
No, that is where it normally sits. This is my sitting on the patio spot, and this is the flamingo's there. This is not always there. That got put up for tonight, but the flamingo's always here. So it's quite lovely, actually. The backyard is coming along nicely. We won't talk about. I
saw the pictures. It looks good.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good. So yeah,
I can promise you, I will never live stream from the backyard because that would involve me being outside. That's not
that's right. And we know your love of the outdoors. Yeah.
I love cutting the grass, but beyond that, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
It's just a beautiful evening. So away we go.
In case anyone is wondering, Daryl is not with us this evening. He had an unforeseen personal circumstance arise, put it that way. He's fine. Everything's good. He'll be back next week. So we may have someone join us later if they get home in time. It was kind of a last minute, call up from the farm team. But so you're stuck with the three of us tonight. So hopefully that's okay.
Oh, well, it's got to be for now anyway. Speaking of farm team, shall we talk about them? It's a kind of a positive time to talk about the Jays. I know they're not a farm team. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we need Vaginal on here to go, hey, Rob, what are your thoughts on the Jays?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they're 6-4 in their last 10 games. I think they had like a win streak of about 5 games. They're looking pretty good. I'm so glad they called up my favorite, Davis Schneider. He's back up from Buffalo and hit a home run there the other night. So looks like he maybe got things straightened around in Buffalo because I'd like to see him stay. I just love that guy.
Yeah.
And Max Scherzer is throwing live batting practice yesterday. So Hopefully he's close to playing in some games because so far we've paid $15 million for 3 innings.
So far, yeah, exactly. It was nice to see that they kind of, I mean, they usually do when a guy comes back, but it was kind of cool to see what they did for Romano. Yeah, it was good.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's few and far between, if ever, where a guy comes back and they don't do something for them. I guess
Right.
if they were a dick when they left, but then he wasn't. So
Right.
it'd be kind of nice to have him back, actually. But what are you going to do? So
Richard's saying the Rockies are doing better than the shit show they've been so far. I don't know. I don't follow them, so that's.
Are you tapped out of the hockey, or are you still kind of following it to see?
I'm passively watching the Oilers. I mean, isn't that our plight as Canadians? We always end up. It boils down to if there's a Canadian team left, even if we don't like them, we're still kind of cheering for them.
Yeah.
So,
well, for instance, was it '93 Canadians won the last?
The Habs, yeah.
Yeah, it was the last time Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a game used stick from one of the '93 Habs sitting over in the corner of my office. Patrice Brisebois. It's autographed and game used. I bought it from the team.
Hmm.
My son, I can't remember because I don't remember when he went. Anyway, my son went to one of the semifinal games. He said it was insane in Edmonton. They also won 6-1 or whatever the score was that Saturday. Yeah, that was a while ago now. That was that Saturday, but nothing for the final. Final prices are even crazier than semifinal prices, but what the hell while you're at it. So
yeah. One of the guys I work with, he's like one of the senior salespeople at one of my distributors. His nephew is Evan Bouchard that plays for the Oilers. So I'm always hearing about it. So I've been watching. The wife's watching it upstairs right now. So
yeah, we'll hear, I'm sure. I know that I guess I know you're not a football fan. Tim, are you a football fan?
Not football. No, not really.
Ottawa at all? No. That starts for tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. Going to the game tomorrow night. So
nice.
The Argos were here in town because they play some spring training games here at the university. So they were here last week. So I didn't know.
One of the young guys that got drafted used to just live across the street from us. He was on the Thunder, which is our junior team. Him and a bunch of other guys live across the street. And Stephen Smith. So he didn't make the main team, but he made the practice squad. So he's living on $750 a week in Toronto. I'm not sure exactly how he's doing that, but
that's not possible.
Yeah.
Chris, you're not paying attention, man. Joe already answered your question. And I'm not going to repeat the answer. You can go back in the stream and watch. Start paying attention, man.
He was typing out about the same thing I was talking about, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But anyway.
Jesus.
Yeah, so there you go.
So, you guys pick up any new records lately?
I don't have it yet, but I ordered, I don't remember their name now, the Surfajettes. I've got that coming. So the second one.
The second one? I got the first one. Pretty good.
Yeah. I got what else? There was a couple other things that I planned to order, but I haven't yet. So we'll see. I'm not sure. You? I know you got some.
I did get some. Yeah, I got a really good VCLT from Keith at Attack from Down Under. I'm not saying it the way he says because I sound stupid. But I put a video about that. It was amazing. And that Robbie Robertson album it's really good.
It sounds good, eh?
It's good. Yeah. It's not like the band, which is fine. Not even close. But the U2 songs that are on there are great. The whole thing is fantastic. Like I remember Crazy River and was a Showdown at Big Sky or something, I think it's called.
Yeah.
I remember those on the radio as a kid, but I had never heard the rest of the album. So that's great. I haven't even put it away. It just sits on top of my turntable because I've listened to it like 5 times in the last week. So
yeah, it's just a fantastic album. I really like it. So
yeah. I picked up another I Amazon record.
That's all right.
Does it show up undamaged though? Every time I order from Amazon, it shows up damaged.
I was concerned because it was in a big box and it moved around. But I opened up the big box, and inside the big box, it was securely wrapped in a record mailer. So I was like, the reason I Amazoned it is it's Grace Potter, who I like a lot. She put out a new/old album, and none of my locals are going to have it. It's just because no one knows who the hell she is here. And I could order it from her web store, but it would have cost twice as much with the shipping, whereas I get it from Amazon and it's free shipping. So it's kind of a cool album. It's an album she did back in like 2010 or 2009. And it wasn't with the Nocturnals. It was a solo album that she recorded with T-Bone Burnett, the producer. But her label shelved it and they never released it. And then 8 of the 12 songs that are on there would go on to become the Nocturnal self-titled album, which is my favorite. Now the album has finally been released. It's really, 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 really good. I think her solo stuff since the Nocturnals has been shit. But this is sort of in the middle of the Nocturnals, but it's kind of a little more soulful take on some of those Nocturnal songs. It's really good. So I'm glad it's here.
That's good.
Yes, Alex, I agree. Tim does need to start a channel. He has to with all those records. He's got tons of stories to tell. So, What about you, Tim? You picking many records lately?
Well, my Sparks record came in that cost an arm and a leg just to get it over the border.
Sure.
So I won't be doing that anymore. And I got what did I get? I got something. Oh, the new Wallflowers album.
Exit Wounds?
That it's like purple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got that. I haven't heard it yet.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
Is it good? Okay.
Yeah,
I just picked that up. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to stack that up against like Bringing Down the Horse.
For sure.
But I really like it, especially the single off there, which was shit. I can hear the song. Anyway, I like it. I think it's a very enjoyable album.
Cool.
So.
I'm going to see him on Saturday.
And I pulled all my records for tomorrow and hopes to get whatever I can signed from Mike Campbell tomorrow. I'm going to see Mike Campbell tomorrow.
Lucky you, man. That's awesome.
So I'm bringing Wallflowers and I'm bringing probably Damn the Torpedoes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good. You think what do you think your odds are? Pretty good?
50-50 technically.
Yeah.
But with my track record, I'll say 80-20.
Sure. He's got Steve Ferroni with him on this tour.
He does. Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's 2 for the price of 1. I can't wait.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm front row. I'm right at his feet.
Oh man, you can probably catch a guitar pick or something if you're lucky.
I'm hoping.
That's very cool. You had another meetup this week, right? Did you want to talk about
Metric? I know you're not a fan, but I'm a big.
Not my cup of tea, but still pretty impressive.
Yeah, Metric. I met them on Monday night.
Yeah,
it was a great show. They have their fantasies. They're doing like the whole album. That one, I don't know if you know, Give Me Sympathy. Who would you rather be, the Beatles or the Rolling Stones? I don't know if you've heard that song. Anyway,
yeah, I know it.
Yeah, it's from that album.
Nice.
So they're putting that album on tour. It's really they're fantastic.
Cool.
Yes, that's a great cover of I Shall Be Released. Absolutely. Love Grace Potter when the Nocturnals, her later stuff, not as much, but I still have everything she's ever put out. So, Chris is saying Apple Music keeps telling them to listen to Blue Rodeo, as you should, because they're great.
Actually, Rob, from your that video you posted, your
VCLT?
Yeah, I checked out that artist. That sounds like Blue Rodeo there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually really good.
He is.
Yeah,
Not
I enjoyed it.
Songs, but there were some that sort of, sounded like casino era, I loved it though. I thought it was really
I was kind of digging it. I'll have to dig a little bit further, but what I heard, I liked.
Yeah, I did too. Paul Kelly from Australia. Never heard of him until I opened the box. I'm like, don't know who he is. So I enjoyed that a lot.
There's so many of those, probably, much like if an Australian came over to Canada, there's so many of that probably roaming around and playing clubs and doing gigs down there, and we'll never know until someone sends us something from Australia, and vice versa, right? Like how many people are going to know the Sadies, right? If it maybe they would in Australia, but probably not. You could probably send something back and start them off down there. So unless they go and tour,
I got to think of something to send Keith. I mean, he's a little more on the harder rock side than I am. So I want to think of something that he'll appreciate. So I still got to think of a few things to send you too, Joe. I'm working on that. So
I'm here. It's all good. It's good.
Chris, you don't need to send me anything, man. It's all good. Stereophonics, yes, they're a band. I won't even say I've scratched the surface. I've listened to a few songs and I like what I've heard so far. So, yes, Alex, I'll send you the link, man. Hold on one second. Alex just texted me and said, I'll join you. And so we can always use it for it. So
Excellent.
Let's get Alex on here.
I'm pulling the trigger and I'm going to the Wallflowers on Saturday. Well, and ZZ Top. So,
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm debating going to that show actually.
yeah, I
They're
mean,
playing I have to go 2 hours, but
yeah, me
I gotta
too.
go-
But
yeah.
I got a friend up in Saskatoon that I'm going to go visit. I haven't seen him for a little while, so we'll go hang out for a bit and then go to the show. And yeah, I mean, I saw ZZ Top forever ago on
Mhm.
Recycler Tour. I don't even know. I think that was for Afterburner. It was, yeah, I think it was Afterburner because they were doing Sleeping Bag and stuff. And haven't ever seen the Wallflowers, so looking forward to it. It should be a good show.
I thought about going to that, but I'm like, kind of on a budget these days. So it's they played that new concert venue at the casino / horse racetrack near the airport in Toronto. Same place Sheryl Crow's going to play. So I thought about going, but they just announced today ZZ Top is coming back through Ontario later this year. So
Well, there you
not
go.
with the Wallflowers, but they're not playing Toronto. They're playing like London and Hamilton or St. Catharines or something like that.
That's good. That's
So-
all right. Play some places you haven't been. My favorite thing in the world, one of my favorite things in the world is when people from Toronto, and I'm not including you in any way, shape, or form, bitch about when a band doesn't play Toronto because
Right.
shut up.
Toronto gets everything. Yes.
Just shut up. Exactly.
I mean, to our American friends, people in Toronto think there's the center of the Canadian universe. And I consider myself far enough away from there that I'm not one of those people. So maybe I am one of those people, but even though I'm wearing the hat.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
but
I'd be wearing a Toronto Blue Jays hat. I don't think I have one. I probably have one somewhere. Anyway, and I'm nowhere close to Toronto in any way, shape, or form. But
I think I have 6 of them. I think 5 of them. I
Yeah.
got this one, which is the original hat, and then I have the current blue one they wear, and then I have the navy and powder blue one, alternate one, and then I have a white one, and I got another one. I think I got like 5 of them. So
cool. My kids
anytime
there,
I'm not working, I have a hat on, and it's almost always a Blue Jay hat. So
my kids there next weekend to go to a couple Jays games and stuff. So should be good.
you know, for all of my love of that team, I have not been to a game in 13 years.
No,
It's been way too long. I gotta go though. One of these days.
and because it's not, it doesn't have to be crazy expensive. It can be certainly, but there are some reasonably priced tickets I think that you can get to a Jays game. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, you go to the $20 outfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a game last year. It was dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. Well, Alex, I think is going to be joining us here in a few minutes because he just texted me. So I put the link up there for you, Alex. So our topic this week, it's Hump Day, Wednesday, and you could argue it's Hump Month, right? June, the middle of the year, right? Hump Month. So this was your idea, wasn't it, Joe? Or was this?
It was, yeah, yeah. So yeah, middle of the year, middle of the week, and we talk a lot about.
There
Well,
it is.
I don't necessarily know we haven't lately, but we sometimes. Hello, Alex. Wonderful to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. I didn't recognize you, Joe, with your background and facial hair lack thereof.
Yes, it's as clean shaven as I get. It's not all the way down, but it's close. So
Your face kind of looks like the flamingo next to you. Actually,
it's
like a
exactly
little doppelganger. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Exactly. But yeah, so the gist of it was basically, yeah, it's the middle of the year, the middle of the week. We talk a lot about recent albums. Like I go on and on about Green Day, and it's their most latest album, right? And they've been doing it for a long, long time. So I thought it'd be interesting if we talk about bands in the middle of their careers, right? We talk about how some are still pulling it off. There's lots that are putting albums out that don't do things commercially, that are not necessarily bad, but don't do things commercially. you have to have a pretty good debut and a decent sophomore, or you don't get to a third or fourth or a 31st in a couple of cases here. So yeah, so
you also have the ones that come out of the gate so strong with the killer first or first and second because they've had years to write it, and then they can't put out shit after that.
Then they just run out of it, right? So this is kind of, well, everything that I picked, they've at least got 10 albums or more. I'm not sure how you guys went at it, but everybody's got at least 10 albums, and it's not exactly in the middle, but it's close to in the middle. And, so they've got those first few out of the way, which you just mentioned. And, oh man, we've got all these great songs. And then, they have some newer stuff. And in some cases, they've got great new stuff, like the Rolling Stones. I'll use that as an example. I've been doing it forever. The stuff at the beginning was very good. I liked Hackney Diamonds, and I don't mind some of the more recent stuff by them. So there's an example of one that's got good on the beginning, good at the end, and then, where did they go in the middle, what they were doing. So, yeah.
Chris wants to know what beer.
But you could argue that Some Girls is, that's about mid-career, and that's pretty strong. Or what, Emotional Rescue, is that? I mean, I don't know that album as well, but
yeah. So, but like I said, I picked everybody that's got at least 10 or more. And the Rolling Stones, spoiler alert, have 31 studio albums. I went with studio albums as well. So that's not compilations and live and everything else. So,
okay. So the topic, I'll have to pull some records, but so
it don't matter. Do whatever, right? I mean,
I want to, it's like, but okay. So obviously what you're saying is like middle of career, right?
Yeah.
Which is tough, Rob is, what is it, you're going to show Help, so it's like,
yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
Put it this way: not an album at the beginning, not an album at the end, an album somewhere in between that is one of the high points of their career.
Okay.
Yeah, that was arguably still good, because there are some albums that people rested on their laurels for a while, then they came back around and did a pretty damn good one. Again, I'll refer to Green Day as an example. Sure. I didn't mind Uno Dos Tres. There was some okay stuff on there a little bit, but there was Dookie, then there was American Idiot, and then there was Saviors. And I mean, those are the big three. And then everything else was, where did it fall in? So.
Okay.
So there we go.
Yeah.
I might do a slight interpretation just to
wherever you want, man.
Going, but
no rules here.
I know you won't kill me.
Never.
We won't. Not
Never.
at all.
Never,
Interpretations are looked fondly upon in this joint.
Exactly. So, Tim, you're the guest of honor this week. You want to go first?
Am I leading? All right.
Sure.
Okay. So, I think, okay, so here we go. This is what I'm going to say. So, this album is, they say it's around 250. Well, take it for what it's worth as a grain of salt. But, Rolling Stone has their top 500 greatest albums of all time. And you know how political that can get, right? And how polluted it can get. But this made it about halfway down. And this is the first record I thought of when I heard this topic. It's won 3 Grammys. Record of the Year it won. It's got Herbie Hancock on it. John Hyatt. This lady's career, this is 20 years into her career. And if there's any middle crowning achievement halfway in her career, it's this record.
Oh, good.
Money Rate, Nick of Time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This is the best mid-career album of all time. Mic drop. Have a good night.
That's it, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Okay, goodbye. Thanks for watching, everyone.
We're done. Nothing left to say.
This is a great record. This is phenomenal. Nick of Time, Thing Called Love, Love Letter, Cry on My Shoulder, Real Man, Nobody's Girl, Have a Heart, Gone Too Soon. It's crazy. And when you look at the lineup, I have to read this. Like, who am I forgetting? There's the help she got on it, You've got Jerry Lynn Williams. You've got Scott Thurston, Don Was, Michael Landau. It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyway, big fan of this record. It won a ton of awards. It basically rejuvenate her career. This is the perfect example, in my opinion.
When did that come out, Tim? Late 80s, early 90s?
89. 89.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it. Okay. Are you ready, Alex, or do you want me to send Joe up next?
Go ahead, send Joe. I got my list. I'm gonna go pick a few records. All right.
All right. Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. Seeing as I talked about them already, let's just do the Stones. And I went with Tattoo You. So yeah, 31 studio albums. This was the 16th album. It was weird. I was doing something a few weeks ago, and this is going to be one of those Joe stories because he's old and losing his memory. And it was an album that I thought was well into their career, or part of me was quite early, and it was already their 7th or their 8th album. So, but this was their 16th, and this came out. When the hell did this come out? This was in 1981. So they'd already put 16 albums out by the time they got to 1981, plus compilations like Hot Rocks was already out. Sucking in the 70s was already out. Made in the Shade, I think, was already out at that point as well. And this isn't their best, but it's pretty damn good. Start Me Up, Hang Fire. I like that one. Waiting on a Friend. So it was a solid Stones album. It wasn't early Stones, but it was definitely a solid Stones album. And again, I would argue that that they're still putting out decent albums. Honk was okay. I didn't mind it. Obviously, that was a little different. That was, what it was. But I enjoyed Hackney Diamonds. I think it's a decent album. And so they're able to continue making solid music. Sometimes people run out. I don't think the Stones have run out, and they're still touring a little, not as much as they were, but they're still touring a little bit. I can't remember if you had anything. Did you have Mick? Had you met Mick somewhere along the line, Tim?
No Rolling Stone. No.
Yeah.
No.
So there you go.
If there's any records shown here that I'll contribute a story, I'll chime in.
Perfect. Sounds good. So there you go. There's my first one. 31 albums, and right in the middle was Tattoo You. Again, pretty solid album at that point. 3 singles. I think if you can judge an album by the number of singles, 3's not horrible, right? It's pretty good, I think.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go while Alex is pulling records. I'm going to go big out of the gate. I'm going to go with a pick that this is actually a twofer. It's 2 albums back to back in the middle of a band's career. And it's not the albums that people would probably pick from this band. So, but I have a rationale for this. And you have to listen to me explain it because it's my show and I'm going to talk.
It's your show. That's right.
We're going to go with Rubber Soul, followed by Revolver. So, obviously, smack dab in the middle of the Beatles' career. This is album number 6, and this is album number 7. Now, their career was only 7 years, 8 years, right? So, I mean, talking a very narrow period of time. Most people would think, the crowning achievement of the Beatles is Sgt. Pepper, maybe, or the White Album, maybe, or Abbey Road. Sort of the finale of all finales. But and I agree with all of those. I think there's arguments to be made for all of them. The reason I'm kind of saying that I'm not saying that these are their best albums, but we're talking about albums in the middle of a band's career that were, career defining, groundbreaking, awesome, whatever. And, the first 5 albums, by and large, Please Please Me Through Help, really kind of the same, right? It's the Beatles with suits on, it's kind of, listen, I enjoy them, but they're kind of all the same thing, and there's nothing tremendously groundbreaking about them. Then they put out this, a marked departure from Help, and it sort of evolves into this. And in my mind, there's the, Please Please Me Through Help, and then there's Sgt. Pepper through the end of their career. And I kind of view these 2 albums on an island by their own, and it's kind of like, part 1 and part 2 kind of the same work. That's how I view it. But I mean, these two albums shaped their career, changed their direction, and led to the incredible stuff that came after that. And these are two absolutely phenomenal albums in the middle of a very, very short career. But I think arguably those are pretty landmark albums in the middle of a career. So look at that. Richard's agreeing with me.
Are those the mono copies, Rob?
Yes, but not the ones you think. This is a mono UK first pressing.
Nice.
And this is a mono UK first pressing. So yeah, they're monos, but they're original monos.
Where do you live again?
I live in Regina, Saskatchewan.
I got the Beatles in mono box set around for sale.
I actually just bought. Yeah, I bought that this week when it popped up.
You got the new one?
I'm going to do a video about that. And speaking of Regina, Saskatchewan, Joe, I just figured out why you have a flamingo, and I'm not going to say why, but I just figured it out.
Yeah, that's right.
I get it.
We have a few. The Beatles are, anomaly is not the right word. It just, the times changed so much from those first albums to those last albums, and they are just completely different versions of them. You know, a lot of bands don't have that complete change of the world going on in the middle of their music either, right?
They're like a musical chameleon. I know, it's crazy.
Exactly. All right, young Mr. Alex, you are up.
All right. Well, in the short prep time here, my interpretation of this is sort of fits the requirement, but also I've been putting off a video idea for like 2 years now. So maybe this will be like the kick in the ass to just do it. But it's sort of focusing on bands or artists that people don't realize how long they were around, and then they hit big, and then they were like, oh, check out this new band that just hit big. And you're like, I don't know. So the first record I pulled is from 1980. It is, believe it or not, this person's 11th studio album, and I believe they put out a total of 18 studio albums. So I'm gonna count that as at least the middle. Close enough. But it is Against the Wind by Bob Seger. Yes. So I always love the conversation. Shout out to our boy Jason Arsenault, because he's a big Bob Seger System fan of like the early days. But, you know, a lot of people don't realize the history of Bob Seger being on Capitol Records back in the late 60s. Bob Seger System, that first record with like the ice skating lady and all that type of stuff. And so, you know, his sound throughout those bands with, you know, albums like Mongrel and a lot of the other stuff was kind of like this Detroit, Michigan sense of garagey, psychedelic, kind of hard rock. And it wasn't until much later, it wasn't necessarily with this record, it was before this record, that he sort of became the, you know, just good old boy American singer-songwriter kind of guy that we knew and loved. You know, so much so, you know, you think about the track Turn the Page. Well, the track that everybody knows is the live version, right? Like everybody knows the live version, and that's because the original version of that song, studio-wise, was also off of that old 73 record that's like impossible to find. Apparently it was like a one-off label release from somebody. It's like a multi-$100 record or something. But I always like need to remind people of like, this is a great record. Against the Wind is like a top, 10 favorite song of all time for me. I love it. But Bob Seger goes back. I always think, you know, you're showing Beatles stuff, Rob. It's wild to me to think that Bob Seger's first record was on the Rainbow Capitol label.
Right.
Like, that is for the label people out there. That's like wild to me. So check out the early Bob stuff, Bob Seger stuff. Before it was like Silver Bullet Band stuff. It's all good, but definitely had a career well before this album came out. This was almost like, I mean, he was probably in his mid-40s when this album came out. So, yeah.
There was, if I remember correctly, because I too chose Mr. Seger, but I chose this one, which was 9th. And you were right. There were 18 and this was 9th, but I did not count the Bob Seger systems. There are Bob Seger albums, then there are Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band albums. Those are the 18, so you had the number right, but I didn't count the Seger System ones, and then I just went with Night Moves. And yeah, blue collar rock, it's just, we're just going to make good rock, and it's going to be accessible to everyone.
Meat and potatoes, man.
Yeah, like Night Moves, and yeah, I was singing Night Moves to myself all day today. I'm washing my car, working on my, yeah, it's just good. It's just really good stuff. And I don't think it's been forever, but it has been a bit since he put something out. But he did put out a late album, did he not? Like maybe 5 years ago. I'd have to check and to know for sure. But I think he did put something out late. Late being, you know, within the, let's say maybe the last 5, but maybe it's the last 10. That could be
Well,
a
yeah,
lot.
I'm going through his Wikipedia now, and it's tough because they have the discography separated by Bob Seger, Silver Bullet Band, System. So
Yeah,
it looks
I know.
yeah, it's
Yeah, but good, just great. And then I never saw him. I don't know. Did you get a chance to ever see him? Because I bet that would have been a good show. That would have
never
been like
saw him. But he's been retired, I think, from touring for a few years now. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, so. But just great Detroit kid.
Yep. It looks like his last record was 2017.
Okay, 17. Yeah. So, I mean, not brand new, but still trying to put some stuff out. And that was part of the impetus of this. Was there are artists that have been around forever that are still putting stuff out. So.
Yep.
Okay, let's go around again. Tim.
All right, guys. This is going to be a twofer, technically,
Give her.
but it's a 1 for twofer. So this guy had a band in the 70s. They were huge, right? They did a lot of good stuff. They did a lineup change. He moved on, did his own thing in the 80s and the 90s. It was all very, very, very good, right? But nothing stands out more than about halfway into his solo career, I would say, roughly. And that would be none other than the awesome Peter Gabriel.
Guess that is middle. Yeah.
I'd say that's pretty smack dab in the middle of his solo career. Well, in his
I hate you,
entire
Tim.
career.
This motherfucker can't show a record without an episode.
I figured I cheated a little bit, but there it is. And I have a side project because I have this signed by him. And then this is I was too chicken to add everybody to it. So I started a side project where I have Daniel Lanois and Manu Cachet, the drummer, who's all over it. So
yeah, let me know when Kate Bush signs that.
I'm hoping. Yeah, Kate. I'm trying to get Tony.
Tony Levin. Hey,
Yeah,
I got Tony Levin's signature. Piss on you, Tim.
There you go. Yeah.
Peter Gabriel was awesome. He was a cool cat.
Yeah.
He was really cool. He was very kind.
That's such a good pick, and I love Peter Gabriel. In fact, I think one of Joe's earliest videos was me and Joe's friends were talking about seeing Peter Gabriel live.
Yeah.
But what's funny is I had to check myself. I was like, wow, so that was the middle, and I was like, well, he's been amazing in so many ways, but terribly unprolific the last 40 years.
Yeah.
In the sense of like he put out just as many records between 76 and 80 as he has from 86 to now. So yeah.
But for whatever that record, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Somebody was doing something right with that record because it blew up.
That's right.
For sure.
It did.
It did very well.
Okay, Joe.
Nice. All right, up next, we're going to go with a band that had a ton of success and continues to put out albums after albums. There's no singles, but their sales are still phenomenal because they have such a big following, and that is Iron Maiden. So I wrote myself notes. 17 studio albums, and this was the 7th, so not quite the middle. I just didn't have anything until you get to a little newer, like Book of Souls I've got, but I don't have anything right dead in the middle. But Maiden, this was kind of the last album that I would say had some commercial success, because this has a couple of songs on it anyway that were somewhat,
with madness.
and I Play with Madness, exactly. And then, but again, they continue to put stuff out. Fear of the Dark came after this. I think Fear of the Dark came after this. But again, I mean, there's a new album from 2 or 3 years ago, Shenjitsu. Right. Book of Souls is about 5 years ago. So they just keep putting stuff out. not necessarily commercially successful, but again, I bet they still sell a ton of them because they've got such a following. So this was right in the middle. You know, it wasn't Ace of Spades, it wasn't all of that stuff, but still a good album. And again, they just kept putting stuff out and kept touring and kept putting stuff out and kept touring. And that's what a lot of these bands have done. Some of these bands have lived off just the touring. I do appreciate the ones that are still putting out the music as well, like one that's coming up that we talked about, or you typed about, and we talked about a little bit about in the comments last week, but we'll get to them later. So there you go. Maiden, 17 studio albums. That was number 7. So not exactly the middle. Yes, I can do math, just not well. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's a good album.
it is a good album. Yeah. They've got a new tour coming. That's more of a greatest hits than the last one was. So I'm hoping that rolls through somewhere close again, because the last one that I saw, I thoroughly enjoyed. It was twice in a week, but there were some songs that I missed, which is my own fault for waiting 59 years to see Iron Maiden. And so I can't blame anybody but me for not hearing some songs. But hopefully, well, I saw a set list from Budapest, and if that's the set list, then all the songs that I was looking forward to, I'm going to get if I get to see him. So,
Okay.
There's Mr. Gabriel.
Hold on.
Wow. 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 I hope you're happy. You know what? We're just happy for you.
Okay. My next one is an
Comes
artist.
around when he comes around again.
Call
Just
me.
get your ass over here, and
That's right.
There you
we'll
go.
make it happen again.
Okay, this is very important, this record I'm going to show. This is an artist who has 12 studio albums. This is his 5th. And this is an album where he was sort of in pigeonholed sort of in this one genre. But on this album, he had kind of a song that exploded, that took his musical career into a different mainstream genre. And I know that this is an album that Alex absolutely loves.
So no.
5 times platinum, man. Sold like
Sure
5 million
is.
copies. One of the best prog albums of all time, right, buddy?
Right.
yeah.
That's so
That's not a serious pick, but I'm just like, well, Alex is here. I got to do that. Here's my serious pick.
You're so dumb.
It's the kind of album that makes you have to go grab a beer. So.
Yeah.
I'm going to go this album. Aerosmith's Get a Grip. So I don't know how many albums they've got. They got like 15, something like that.
That's exactly it. Studio albums. It's 15.
Really? And
It
this
is,
would
yeah.
be this would be somewhere around about like 10, 9, something like that. So a little past the middle, but not near the end. What do I say about this? There's sort of the dividing line, right? There's the Aerosmith that's before Run DMC covered Walk This Way. And then there's the Aerosmith after that. And, you know, the late 80s, early 90s, Aerosmith gets no love in the vinyl community because everyone's like, they suck. They're sold out to be on the radio. Fuck you. I don't care what you think. You like what you like. I love all the Aerosmiths, but I was, you know, like 12 when this record came out. So this was the Aerosmith that I grew up with at the time. And, you know, later on in their career, they certainly ran out of gas. Like Music from Another Dimension was garbage, and 9 Lives wasn't very good, and Just Push Play wasn't very good. So, you know, they ran out of gas. But this is an album from the middle of their career. Whether you like it or not, you can't really argue that this was an incredibly successful record. I mean, the singles that this album spawned: Eat the Rich, Living on the Edge, Crying, Crazy, Amazing. I mean, whether you like it or not, you can't argue that this is a monumentally large album in their career. I love it. It's one of my favorite Aerosmith records. So certainly right around the middle. And Joe's got another good suggestion there too. Hold on.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was looking to see which. I didn't remember which one came. This one came first.
That one
eh?
Hump came first. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because this one was good too, and it right around the same time.
It goes permanent vacation, pump, then get a grip.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And all of
permanent,
those are fantastic.
yeah, and permanent vacation was 9, 10, and 11 out of 15. So, yeah, I mean, it's the clean and sober Aerosmith, and it was still good. And yeah, Desmond Child was around, and there was lots of people that were helping them write songs, unlike earlier. But and they're completely different. But they're getting radio play. Well, I don't know. Do you ever hear Dream On? Do you ever hear all the Walk This Way? Do you ever hear all of that stuff? Aerosmith always got radio play.
Exactly.
Walk the dig.
They just got video play as well with stuff like
Right.
Love in an Elevator and everything
Is it
else.
Walk
That
in
was
the
a big
Dig
part
or
of it. So yeah.
Okay, Alex.
Well, this one, this is going to be a Joe pick. I'd actually be surprised if Joe didn't pick this record or the one that comes after it. And again, it follows my theme that I'm kind of going with of these bands that were around for a long time, had a lot of records before they quote unquote hit. And now a lot of times, and this is a different sort of thing, a lot of that depends on just geography, right? There are some bands that were huge in Germany where they're from, and then they didn't catch on to the States until years later or whatever that is. And this is one of these bands where from the States or from the North Americans perspective, they jumped on with these like hella, MTV hits, big hair. We'll see if you can fill in the blank. But the Brits were like, wait, is that old school hard rock blues band that's been around since the mid 70s, fronted by David Coverdale? So I'm going to go with Whitesnake and slide it in. Between this and the Whitesnake album in 87 actually is right in the middle. So I think they did 13 total albums, and then this is 6, and then that one's 7. But I just personally like slide it in a little bit more because it's just stupid in all the ways that Whitesnake is. So yeah. So for our people, European, it was like David Coverdale when he joined Deep Purple was kind of an unknown at that time, and then obviously he started David Coverdale's Whitesnake, and then Whitesnake became the name of the band, and then really for years and years and years, Whitesnake was just kind of a collective made up of David Coverdale and other people. But when this hit, and then obviously, Tawny Kitaen was like crawling on cars and doing all these different things, right? And everybody's like, oh my gosh, like what a hair metal band. It was like, if you listen to those first 5 really records, I mean, they're just good, like soulful, bluesy records. They're all amazing. And obviously this hits in North America and blows up with the huge hits of Slide It In was huge, obviously, and then Slow and Easy. Like, I mean, that 3, the first 3 on here, Slide It In, Slow and Easy, Love Ain't No Stranger, like to start a record off with that, all wild. So yeah, I'm going Whitesnake. Now, Rob, if you did not know, Whitesnake is a name for a phallic object. So
Is it? No.
Allegedly.
No.
That's, yeah, so I'm all in, though. I do love me some Whitesnake, and I like this one
I
more.
bet you do.
Well, the album before that, I think the album before that, the cover is actually someone sitting on a snake in it with the snake in the right position and everything. So yeah. That's a great album. You're right. And everybody thought, oh wow, here I go again. These guys are brand new and they're fantastic. Well, no, it's been a little while. Yeah.
And this was
the
also
overnight sensations that.
Yeah, this was also in the weird times too. I forget the exact story. Tim's probably met him and had conversations with him, but this was where the North American version has John Sykes playing guitar on the record. So it's John Sykes on this and on Whitesnake 87. But the UK or European version has I don't know if it might have been Bernie, I forget. So completely different mixes too. Like they are like different albums entirely with different like guitar tracks on them. So also bizarre in that way. So
yeah, I was just going to say the overnight sensations that had 7 albums before everybody knew about them, right? I mean, there's that's kind of the theory you're going with, and
that's right. There's a whole lot more where that came from, Joe.
There's a lot coming up, and I'm not going to spoil any of it. I'm just going to shut the hell up and let Tim go.
What a good segue.
Pardon me for canceling this broadcast just for a minute while I play my accordion. And I will open it up halfway because you really can't go anything wrong. What's halfway here? Halfway would be.
Oh, I know what that is.
Halfway would be.
I know exactly what that is.
Oh,
That's
and look,
awesome.
halfway is arguably his best out. This is what kind of put him global, right? I would say he's like Amish Paradise and stuff like that.
That's hilarious.
Probably
I love that.
That's
that's probably that's about halfway. That's about halfway through the career right there, and I would say arguably that's probably his best album, considering Amish Paradise that's the big one, and then it's got a bunch of like The Night Santa Went Crazy, which is in the style of Soul Asylum, and Phony Calls, which is Waterfalls, Syndicated Incorporated, which is also
Frustrated
Soul
Incorporated.
Soul Asylum cover. Gump from Lump. Cavity Search, which is U2's Thrill Me, Kiss Me, whatever.
Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me.
That one, yeah. Pretty stellar album. Yeah, can't go wrong. But I had to bust out the accordion.
I think that wins for the coolest box set ever, by the way.
And it's not halfway into the this is more like his early stuff, but I did run into Weird Al.
Of course you did.
And he signed.
Just run into him.
This is earlier though. This is
Fuck.
He was great live, actually. He put on a hell of a show.
He's incredible live. He
Yeah.
jumped so me and my buddy were sitting, we were about maybe 20 rows back at a show, and he's like he's coming out in the crowd and he's singing, and he literally like does one of these and lands on us. We're like, okay, well, Weird Al's just
Yeah.
Weird Al's giving me a lap dance.
He does one of those dives right on our laps. It was hilarious. Yeah, it was a good night.
Right on.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had to lighten it up with some Weird Al.
It's always good. Always good.
All right. Joe.
I'm up, eh? All right. Well, you know what? I mentioned them earlier, so let's just get to it. There's a band. We've talked about Alex's thought theory on how bands are around for a while and then they have some success. There's also bands that are around and then they change their style a little bit. And now Aerosmith is an example of that. Not really. It's still kind of the same thing, but you could say there's early Aerosmith and late Aerosmith. There's early ZZ Top and then there's later ZZ Top. Changed with this. It just got a more electronic. It's still ZZ Top. It's still the same tongue-in-cheek stuff that they write about. It's just this album, obviously the videos helped them so much. Exactly. Made such a, I mean, they made the most of MTV, and MTV made the most of them as well, for sure. So I love all the old stuff. I love right back to this is the ZZ Top album and all of that, and LaGrange and all of that stuff. And I like this, and I like Recycler, and I like, and even they again, another band that I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a little bit since they put stuff out, but they do try and still put things out. And Billy Gibbons is still recording every once in a while with some people and doing some stuff and that. So again, there's another band that they're in the middle of their career. They don't change it up immensely, but they change it up a little bit. And I'm not sure what the impetus of that would be. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody from the band, I guess specifically Billy, go, you know what? We just thought there was a sale on electronic drums and Frank would sound good playing these drums. I don't know what the deal was. Why the change? Because it's not like people weren't listening to what they were doing. And it is kind of the same, but it is definitely a little different, if not a lot different style, somewhat sound anyway. But I love it all, early, late, and in the middle. So there you go.
Okay. Can I show a live album, Joe? A sort of
you can
live
show
album?
whatever. You can show whatever you want. Oh, and ZZ Top has
show,
15.
Rob.
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
It was Joe's topic, right? So I got to make sure I play by Joe's rules. And by the way, everyone, if the gatefold, you got to show it. That's our rule, by the way.
That's right. It was ZZ Top had 15 albums, ZZ Top had 15 albums, and the 8th was Eliminator.
Okay, this I don't think you can argue is maybe one of. I'm going to say the best mid-career record put out by anybody ever. I don't know how many albums this guy has, but I don't know that you can top this. The 68 Comeback Special, right? So obviously came out in 1968. Elvis had been around since I think his first Sun records were like 54, something like that, 1954, I think. And then he went into the Army, and then after the Army, he did those horrible movies. There's a couple that are okay. King Creole is okay. GI Blues is okay. Jailhouse Rock is okay. The rest are kind of shitty. And then he sort of wanted to restart his serious music career. So he did this. This is kind of half live, half pre-recorded. So that's why I figured it was probably okay. And obviously he lived, this is 10 years before he died, but 14 years after he started his career. So I'm going to say that this is in the middle of his career. And I think a lot of Elvis fans would probably say that this is the best music he ever put out. That's all I have to say about it. I mean, shit. There you go. There you go.
Rob,
Rick is agreeing with me.
I don't know if you saw when I was in Texas and I did a video with my brother, and we did like some blind poll, like, you know, whack-a-mole type stuff or whatever, and I pulled out an Elvis at his place, pulled out an Elvis record, and I was like, this might blow some people's mind. I don't own a single Elvis record.
Oh,
I do not own a single one. Now here's the thing. That with no disrespect intended for anybody, like that is also kind of like a choice. Like it's not like I can't find them, you know, like, oh, they're just so rare. No, they're, you know, there are a billion of them. And so it was like hilarious. There was like a number of comments from like, you know, people that were like, oh dude, you should have told me you needed Elvis records. I would have given you all my dupes. And, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I guess I don't know what I would do with them though. So I don't know anything.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. You like what you like. You like what you like.
I know. I actually just learned that, you know, Hound Dog and like all those big hits aren't on any LPs.
No, they're singles.
I didn't even know that till a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Well, because in the 50s, the record labels were more interested in selling singles than putting out studio albums. So Elvis was kind of at the tail end of that era. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, Alex, you're up.
All right. Well, it's actually funny. I kind of I was thinking about hijacking after that sounds dirty. I was thinking about taking over the conversation after Joe went with his pick 2 ago, because I was like, ooh, this is kind of these two bands I'm talking about when Joe was showing Iron Maiden. You know, these two bands have been contemporaries. They're both still going very, very strong. They sort of had some blips with like singers that have come and gone, all those different things. And I started almost thinking about this as more of kind of a comeback record, but also sits pretty much in the middle of their career. So I'm going to 1990, and I'm going to go with Painkiller from Priest. You know, they were coming off of a couple of records, especially Turbo, that were less than, you know, what people wanted, I guess, right? And so I think a lot of people were like, okay, how is this, you know, one of the biggest heavy metal bands in the world, how are they going to enter the 90s? Of course, at that time, probably not knowing what was around, you know, in the 90s. It's not like people knew that grunge was just around the corner. But, you know, this was such a record that was like, this is still a record that I think people put in, you know, probably like top like 4 or 5 for a lot of Priest fans, for sure. And so, you know, because they were coming again off the 80s thing with all the 80s sort of production, like very, very similar in kind of like, you know, when we're talking about like Eliminator and Afterburner and all that kind of stuff of, you know, just that 80s gated sound. And then 1990 hit, and then you just hear Painkiller just kicks off with that drum intro, and then Rob Halford's just shrieking up a storm, and you're like, what year is this? Like this should not be working as well as it is. And still just it's still wild. Like this is arguably their, you know, one of their absolute heaviest records too. And it came right at, you know, mid kind of career for them. So yeah, I've shown 3 records. None of them have been gatefolds. So, you know, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. There was just one episode a couple of weeks ago. It was like, we just got to start showing these gatefolds because there is lots in there and it looks really good. So I'm going to confess something, and I'm not sure if it will take my any credibility that I've got away. But I listened to that album. I listened to Turbo a couple weeks ago. It's a good album, and I like Turbo Lover. It's a good song.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
everybody shits on it because it's not Priest, but when I saw him live, everybody in the show didn't think it wasn't Priest. They thought
Losing
it
their
was
mind about
good.
it. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there was for the longest time, it was just uncool to like "I Was Made for Loving You" by Kiss, and now
Sure.
it's now it's one of their most popular. It's the same type of thing. So,
Yeah.
but you're right though. Album last year, I didn't listen to it. I'm not sure, but still putting music out, which is great, and
Yep.
Rob still sounds good. So,
That's right.
and that Rob still looks good now that he's back.
This Rob's never looked good.
Oh, okay. Well, there.
Never
Yeah, I'm
looked
It's all
trying.
makeup. It's all makeup.
Yeah, it's all makeup. Yeah, there you go.
Sorry, I had to refill the beverage and say goodnight to the boy.
So have you guys been able to hear the birds and everything else going on? Like, I'm not sure how this experiment is going.
Where
It's
are
been
you,
okay.
Bill?
Sitting on my patio in the backyard.
Oh, this is just the ambiance it is Regina.
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, the trees in the back are real trees, and the flamingo is not a real flamingo.
What a
The
shame.
bird- Yeah. So I don't know. I just it dawned on me to give it a shot. The good Wi-Fi, and it's a beautiful night out, so why not?
I got to say, your video quality actually looks better outside than when you're downstairs.
It does. Yeah, I know inside doesn't look very good because I try and make it all colorful and shit, and I just really need more light. So that was kind of part of it too. I mean, I don't look any better in better light, but the overall quality looks better for sure. I yes.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Edmonton is losing 2-1.
Oh
they
no!
are they?
Yes. So that's not good.
In Edmonton? Are
I
they
believe so.
are
I
they
think
playing at
they're-
home?
I think they're at home. Yeah.
Okay.
It's
They've
just
got the dark,
ridiculous.
they've got the dark blues on, so yeah, they must be at
Yeah.
home.
When they go to Florida, they play. Then they take 3 days off before the next game.
Yeah,
Get this damn thing over with, you guys. Come on.
I know.
What
It's
is? Yeah.
been a week before this damn series started, so let's get going. Baseball season, damn it.
That's right.
Okay, Tim.
All right. This will be I never really thought about this one until I had to kind of do the math on their albums. But so this is another one of those bands that's been around for 70s, 80s. And they still, I looked and I don't follow them anymore. But I guess they still do releases. They still do stuff now. But nothing really tops this album, which is their #1 played on Spotify and is like pretty much, if you're going to name this band, it's probably going to be the tracks that are on here. There's 2 or 3 big radio tracks. And this came out in 90. And that'd be the Scorpions.
Oh,
Crazy
wow.
World.
Nice.
It's not that wind of change on it, does it?
Yeah, that's the one with Winds of Change and Send Me an Angel. And yeah. So.
Send me an angel.
Yeah. Sorry.
we gotta get Tim on an after dark, Rob.
Oh, I know we do.
Oh, he'd be out of control. We'd have to call the authorities. Yeah.
So I never really. Yeah, it was kind of a late pull, but I didn't realize that kind of worked out. And really, they haven't done really anything worthy since this. Really.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Unless I'm.
Well, they did what, Rock Believer several years ago, but a lot of Scorpions fans were like, that's probably the best album they've done in a really long time.
Really long time, yeah. And it's good. I was living in Germany at the time, and this record was played. This is bled. It was just everyone owned it. It was all over the radio.
Well, yeah, you got to know the story about the conspiracy theory that it was like the Winds of Change was like a government like conspiracy to get, like, it was like a government conspiracy propaganda tactic.
Yeah, and like some German thing or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did hear. Yeah, but yeah, it was
What's
just
that damn whistle?
It was like like everyone and their dog owned this album in Germany, and when I moved back here, it was still being played here. I'm like, okay, well, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think there is actually a documentary about that. Is there not?
I would love to
I
see
don't
it.
know. Is
Yeah,
there?
I think, or maybe it's one of those Tubi ones where somebody puts something together just to try and make it a documentary, which sometimes can work out okay. Doesn't have to have a big budget, but yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that theory more than once. So
Was that Tim? Was Savage Amusement before that?
I think it was before it.
Right, it was like '88 or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that had and the rhythm of love. It's the dancing on the
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. All right, sorry,
man.
sorry, Rob.
for
All
me,
right.
it's the zoo or nothing. The zoo.
Oh, yeah.
I like the Scorpions. They have
Yeah, they're
not
good.
put out for a long time, but still touring. I've never seen them.
Yeah.
They were one of the when Ozzy pulled out of Power Trip a couple years ago. It was kind of them or Judas Priest, and it ended up being Judas Priest, and I would have been happy either way because I'd go see the Scorpions still. I think they were doing a residency in Vegas, but
Oh, I have a story.
did
Keep
not
talking,
get
but look, hold on. I have a story. Hold on.
Oh God.
who did I see?
I saw a scorpion one time. I was hiking in the desert in Arizona.
Yikes. Who did I see? Someone was talking about doing a Sphere residency, and I thought that would be very good. Jesus, man, I got to write this shit down. It'll come to me eventually, but I don't know who's there now. I think there's a country artist that's currently there, and then the Dead did a few more, and I think the Eagles are done. I'm not sure if Fish is going back or not, but there was someone that came up, and I thought it would be very good. But anyway, I'll think about it. It's one of those stories.
I'm scared what Tim's gonna.
Okay,
stories,
so,
I'm just. Here he goes.
When the I'm more familiar with the Scorpions later stuff, right? But with their early, do you know Uli von Roth?
Uli John Roth, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he came to our town. He came to a brewery in our town, just like a brewery. Played
Yep.
for like a small crowd.
Yep.
So we rubbed shoulders after the show, and I had
goodness.
the Virgin Killer.
Yes.
So I have the cover, and
Shut
I have the alternate cover. I have
So
both.
dumb.
So he signed it, but it's funny because I'm not going to show the other side, but
Yeah.
he refused to sign the front.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of fun. He's like, I'm not like, I don't. So he signed like the
Wow.
back. He signed the back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's my favorite era. The Uli John Roth era is my favorite.
Yeah.
era.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
5 records are fantastic.
But and then I don't have it, like it's put away, but the one with the front cover, he signed a little bit better. This one, he kind of signed really rushed.
You probably don't need both of them, Tim.
I really don't.
Yeah.
He doesn't need half of them that he's got, Alex. If you see the video that Tim has sent me where he's flipping through all his crates and you just go, God damn it, man, how many Joe Walsh autographs do you need?
Oh,
Whatever.
You can't have enough.
When I went to see Uli, so like his band that he had with him on tour. So Uli's in the middle, and then he's got his bass guy playing left, and he's got his guitar playing right to his right.
Mhm.
So we look like it kind of mirrored the Beatles, right? Like Paul, you know how they're. So I said to him after the show, I'm like, oh, you guys look kind of you guys are like the Beatles up there, you know, with your buddy there on, and he's like, who in the Beatles is left-handed? And I said Paul McCartney. He's like, I forget. I can't. I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, oh my God, I'm a retard. I'm a loser. He called himself a loser. I'm a loser.
He's like playing bowling alleys now.
Oh, is he?
Well, I mean, like it's just like he's not a household name.
No,
I think
no,
Have you ever heard of G3, the guitar tour?
no.
So G3 was like a guitar tour that was put together by Joe Satriani, and so he goes out and it's the G3 tour, and every time guitar 3, and so it's like 3 incredible guitarists always joined by Joe Satriani, and so Steve Vai's been on it a gazillion times, and Eric Johnson and John Petrucci. But several years ago, they brought Uli John Roth out there, which was just like really cool, but like so completely different. Like his background is so different than like the Shredders.
Well, his show is very like he just like his show. He was just kind of like half the set he was playing like classical music, like basically electric. Like he was just all over the fret. Yeah, it was a good show.
Awesome.
It's not for everybody, but yeah.
Okay, Joe.
All right. Next up, I'm going to go with another band that has 15 studio albums. Not making any more, I don't think, because the lead singer is no longer with us. And I'm going with the 8th in the 15, and it is The Game by Queen. A little bit of a departure, I think, from earlier stuff. Under Pressure, I don't know if that necessarily fits into some of like Queen 2 and A Night at the Opera and A Day at the Races and that. I guess it kind of could, but stuff like Another One Bites the Dust. I don't know if this is necessarily the album or not, because Queen was big, but this was the big album, I think, at least North America, or from what I remember back in the day, because I was around back in the day when this came out, and I knew of Queen, right? But I don't know if I really knew of Queen until this came, and then I went back and discovered a lot more before that. So Don't Try Suicide, that's fun on here. I like that. Called Love. Don't Try Suicide. Exactly. Dragon Attack. It's a pretty decent album. Again, I think a little bit of a departure, maybe. But then we got into stuff like Under Pressure and that. So, there's some stuff that's on here that took them forward that maybe didn't look back as much, but that took them forward a little bit. But I like this one. And again, it's kind of right in the middle. It's 8 out of 15. I don't know what was before it. What would have been before it? Maybe News of the World.
Was it Jazz?
Is that right before this? Yeah,
I think
can't
Jazz
remember
was
for
before
sure.
it. Or was
yes,
it
you're right. Yeah,
Jazz
no, 100%. It is Jazz. Yeah, because I would have picked Jazz, but we've talked about Jazz a lot, and I really like Jazz. But yes, you are 100%. Jazz was right before it. So, but when Richard was on last week, he showed Innuendo, which is a great album. And that was a perfect example of why you should always show the gatefold, because that was a pretty cool gatefold. But they mixed it up. Queen definitely was not definitely not pigeonholed to a style of music. Somewhat that arena rock, but then the operatic and all of the other things. I don't need to tell you guys about Queen, but that's right in the middle and still doing well. Was that the last big one? I don't think so. No, probably not. But it's the last big hits, I think, kind of. At least here, there was probably more in Great Britain that would have been equally, not as equal as that. I think, like I said, that was probably the last biggest one for them, but that's arguable as well.
Yeah.
Okay. My turn. I'm just seeing where this is in this band's discography. Bear with me 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8. Okay. I'm going to go with this. You may not recognize this cover. U2's Achtung Baby. This is the 30th anniversary deluxe edition, so it looks a little bit different. But U2's 8th studio album. They have 15-ish albums, I think, at this point in time. So I would argue this is pretty damn near the middle. I mean, they started in like 82, something like this, and this came out in 91. So this is like 11 years into their career. So I'd sort of consider this the middle. And, you ask U2 fans, what's U2's best album? And most of the time, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, you're going to get one of two answers. You're going to get Joshua Tree or you're going to get Achtung Baby. Usually.
I think so. Yeah. And you Rattle and Hum, right?
Me is Rattle and Hum. This is my second favorite. I love this.
Yeah.
But, an album for them, a little different. They always like to sort of change things up as they went throughout their career. And this was a little more 90s production. And this is sort of a very political album about, the fall of communism and that sort of thing. But an album that they almost broke up when they were recording this record. Like, U2 almost didn't survive this. But as a result, you get some of the best songs that they ever put out. If I can find the track list in this super deluxe edition. Where is it? Hold on. Hold on. Bear with me, please.
Please hold.
Please hold. Talk amongst yourself. Okay. You get Mysterious Ways. You get One, which you might argue is one of their biggest songs ever. Even better than The Real Thing. Who's Gonna Ride Your Wild Horses? Just a phenomenal record. And then you could say they probably made a couple shitty records after that. But maybe the peak of their creativity and a great mid-career record. Thoughts, Joe, being a big U2 fan?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to do that, but I assumed that you probably would, and that would have been the album that I would have picked, again, because it is my favorite. But yeah, just very solid. And another thing I really enjoyed about that documentary was I'm pretty good with knowing the lyrics, but sometimes not always. You know, you've got a certain thing in your head, but when you hear Bono singing on his own, he's got some accompaniment. The lyrics just shine through that much more, and the way that he wraps them around in the stories, it's just fantastic. But and then it doesn't hurt again that was the album, excuse me, that they focused on and played in its entirety when I saw them as well. So that helped as well. But yeah, I've always loved that album. So and that's an example of, oh my God, what do we do after we come out with the Joshua Tree? Well, I think they did pretty good. I think they did okay, right? Because there's so many bands that fall off that cliff. They have that monster, and the next one's always okay, but they did pretty well. Arguably, I think they did pretty well. You'd have people argue with you that they didn't, but they'd be wrong, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah.
What's Richard saying here? I love revisiting the mid years, Octung Baby, Pop, etc. Yeah, I like Pop. I mean, there's some things on it I don't like, but there's some things I do. Zooropa is an album I've never ever liked, and I can't do it. But yeah, it's an interesting period there. It's before they turned into the mellow old farts that they are today. So
new album though. We'll see. Let's see if they're one of those bands that can kind of bookend themselves a little bit and just blow us away with something.
Well, they've been working on it for, when did Songs of Surrender doesn't count. So Songs of Experience came out, like 5 years ago at this point?
Yeah.
So they've been working on it for a while. And, Ed just sort of been hinting that this is a rock record because they haven't made a rock record in a while. So,
yeah.
God, I hope so.
Good.
But what does a rock record sound like in 2025? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows?
I guess if someone's going to figure it out, the Edge will probably be the one to figure it out and see what here's what rock is in 2025.
Maybe
or a version of it. So
maybe.
Yeah.
Alex knows what it is, and he's going to tell us right now.
He is.
All right. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to say what a rock record is in 2025, but my next choice also doesn't have a gatefold. So this will be kind of funny because I actually don't even know what I think of this record. I get it. But this thing I was just checking went it was number one in the US for like 21 weeks, went 10 times platinum here in the States, which is 10 million records sold, which is a diamond here in the States. And this is a band that released 16 studio records, and this is number 9. Also falls in the theme of having a whole career before they were overnight successes all over everything. And this so perfectly sums up the AOR, Hump rock, stadium rock, arena, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to go with High Infidelity from REO Speedwagon with classic hits as "Now Don't You Let Them Go." And then, of course, I'm going to Keep On Loving You, which I'll let Rob hit.
You don't want to hear that.
Run. But, here's what's wild, actually. I mean, thinking this is like me just kind of going off into a silly tangent. But we were mentioning earlier, like Elvis, right? The album did not happen until, 65, 66, right? That's where we kind of somewhere between 1965 and 1967, we refer to this is when the album became a thing. Before then, it was all singles all the time. and you start thinking about a record like this that sells 10 million copies, but the album didn't sell 10 million copies. 2 singles sold 10 million copies. It's
Fair
like
point.
it's like it's a fine album. I don't mind the album, but I think of like Brothers in Arms from Dire Straits, right? Like Hella Mega has sold a gazillion records, but people didn't buy the record. Like they bought the record because there was like 2 songs, right? And it was like those songs sold a gazillion, right? And I think the same here. Now I show REO and they fit into my kind of theme because this is another one of those bands that had a whole career before any of this type of stuff. I mean, Kevin Cronin wasn't even the original singer. In fact, the original singer, he was on the first Speedwagon record, went on to join or form another Champaign, Illinois band, Starcastle, which was like basically a Yes kind of like mock-up band. But like they were just good, like Midwest bluesy hard rock with like some progressive elements for their first, 5 records really. Even the first several that Kevin Cronin was on was just good old-fashioned like meat and potatoes hard rock. And then they got the taste of like kind of a hit, right? Same thing like Riding the Storm Out, whereas really it became a huge hit. That was like the Turn the Page thing. Like that was a huge hit because of the live version, right? Yeah, it's interesting. I think a lot of like your classic REO diehards would probably poo-poo this record because this was like, a sellout record, whatever. But it's just one of those things of like, yeah, this sold a gazillion copies and obviously has some mega radio hits on there. So yeah.
Is that the one that has what's that big song?
Keep on loving you.
It's time to break this ship into the shore.
It does not have Can't Fight This Feeling anymore. No.
Is that on there?
It's not. I think it was on the next one or the 2 before this. I think it might have been on the one right after this.
Okay. Because I see that record. I see that in the record store all the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't recall the tracks on it.
And throw away the yours forever.
Because I can't fight. That's the one.
We can do this all night, Rob. We're so sorry.
I'm just sitting here thinking.
I just needed the connection. There we go.
When you two are lubricated on a couple, have a couple shots down there on an after dark, man, I want to be on that episode because it is going to be insane.
Oh, you got to be careful when you say when you two are lubricated on after dark. That's got a different ring to it than drinking. Well,
lubricated with some barley sandwiches.
Also named for a meat wad, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, fair enough.
When you suggested the route that you were going to go, that is exactly the band that I thought of, the Overnight Sensation, where it was their 6th album that it took them to get to, right? Yep. That's the one that everybody knew, but they'd been around. That is the, if you looked up Overnight Sensation that took 7 albums to get there, it would be a picture of REO Speedwagon in the dictionary. So yeah.
Yep. Do you know where the band name came from?
It's a truck.
I used to.
It's a car. It was R.E. Olds, O-L-D-S, who founded Oldsmobile. His previous company, he had a car called the Speedway.
That's right.
There you go. What's John saying here? John is saying, Riding the Storm Out is the loudest song I've ever heard in concert. Thought the roof was going to come down.
I have my favorite REO Speedwagon song. I saw them back in, I was probably in high school right after. So maybe we're talking like 2008 or so. I saw them. And it was, in those times I was like 17, 18 and like, I still view them as like rock stars, right? I'm like, oh my God. So I remember my brother and I were waiting like back by the tour buses, like trying to get autographs, basically like some groupies back there. And it was like the most humbling moment for me when I was like, wow, like they're just people. And granted, like you could argue too, like, we're not talking about like, they're not selling out stadiums, like they played like a theater or whatever, and it was cool. But their tour manager comes back with a bag of Subway, and he's like, catering's here, guys. And I'm just like, you know what? If Kevin Cronin can eat Subway after a concert, my fat ass can eat Subway anytime. So yeah.
He's out with, I think he's out with his own band now. It's not calling himself REO Speedwagon.
Yeah, they had a huge falling out, him and Bruce Hall. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think with Journey. I'm not sure. Did you guys ever watch Ozark, the television show Ozark? Do you remember them being on that? It's like, oh man, if
Oh
you
yeah,
hit the
they were
wagon,
playing
right?
the fundraiser, right?
They were the fundraiser. Yeah, they were the big to the one guy anyway.
That's
so
right.
I think my ride's here.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
It's 3-2 for Florida right now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, coming back.
They're coming back. It was 2-1. It's 3-2 now. So halfway through the second.
Awesome.
All right.
And we got half an hour to go. And
And way too
17
many,
albums.
way too many records to show. So Tim, you're up.
Oh, no. Okay. Okay. I got to mention these guys. I think there's not a bad. I don't think they have any bad album, but I would arguably say this is probably not their peak, but maybe close to their peak. And that would be none other than not REO, but REM.
Yup.
So I would argue Out of Time is probably their biggest, but this came right after it, and this kind of lines up more with Halfway, I think, because they did come out with quite a number of stuff after this, but they disbanded in 2005 or so, 2010 maybe max, and this was 93.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think I had looked at them, and that's I think that is definitely right in the middle. But you're right, Out of Time is bigger for sure, but that was still a pretty damn big album. Like if you look at the releases off of that, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like the like the Octung Baby and the Zerupa thing. Like I found like those two releases I remember being quite close together. Octung being hell of a lot better and Zerupa being like just a wash away. But I found Out of Time and this were both very strong for a mid-career. Yeah, so I went with that.
That's a good pick. Yeah, so I'm like the periphery REM fan. Like I don't own a single REM album. Nothing against them. I probably should, but I feel like that is like that's what everybody's got their pick, but that is I would say that I hear the most about.
Yeah, I mean I like this record more than Out of Time. It's a little less. It still has its commercialness to it, but songs like "Find the River" and "Night Swimming" and like you won't hear those on the radio, and I think they're one of their best songs. Drive, yeah.
Excellent choice.
Yep.
Love REM.
Okay.
I thought of the band that I heard rumored to play the Sphere, or suggested. It was the Talking Heads, because there was a picture of them I saw today earlier where they were all together, and there was rumors of a tour, and then or a tour, or are they going to do a residency at the Sphere? But Talking Heads would probably be all right at the Sphere. I think Byrne could probably come up with some interesting stuff for that. So
yeah,
there, half an hour, 45 minutes later, I actually thought of something. I'm going to go with a band that I know Alex enjoys, and they are a prog rock band. And sometimes they are not necessarily considered that because they are all over classic rock radio. But this is where were they? Where are they? 17 studio albums. This was 8, and aptly titled "Pieces of 8" by Styx. Yeah. So, and I'm probably, of the two of us, I'm the wrong one to talk about Styx because I am in the middle of Styx. Really, I'm not necessarily the early stuff Kilroy. I listened to Kilroy Was Here the other day. It's not that horrible of an album, actually. I mean, Mr. Roboto is Mr. Roboto, and it's okay. And this is who I was talking about. And maybe you can talk a little bit more about. They've got a new album coming out, right? I believe
It's out.
It's out. Oh, is it? Okay. And have you got it? Have you?
I got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And for those in the questioning, is it similar to this? Is it I guess is it middle of the road Styx? What is it? I guess
that is actually. Let me grab it because I know Tim's a fan too. Actually.
Oh yeah.
So this is a fantastic album. I'm not sure if Tim will know, and Rob, I'm not sure. I don't know if we've ever talked about Styx necessarily. I don't think we have, you and I. But Pieces of 8, again, right kind of in the middle. 17. This is 16. Although, and I'm not sure if the 17 includes the new one or not. But the Great White Hope on here, which is a fantastic song. Lords in the Ring Blue Collar Man, probably one of their bigger ones. And then Renegade, obviously, one of the biggest. But very cool. And this is the special. I'm not sure if yours is. It is a gatefold, so I'm going to pull it out of its sleeve. And it is a gatefold. So there is sticks way too big. Big-headed sticks. And big-headed sticks. And this is the... Back in the day when they did a few on vinyl, it is actually the gold vinyl edition of Pieces of Eight. So it's a great album, a really good album all the way through. So and it's not that I dislike early stuff. I'm just not. I just don't listen to the early stuff as much as I'm sure you do, and or as maybe I should. But anyway, a little bit about the new one that you got.
Yeah, well, and I actually kind of enjoy this model, and I think some groups are doing it, but this interesting model. So this is Circling from Above, the latest from Styx. I will say, Rob, can you make me big?
You're asking
well, I mean,
Things that sound dirty but aren't.
We stay big, we don't get big. That's right.
That's right.
I will say, first off the bat, beautiful artwork here.
Yeah, that's nice.
The great cover. Pull out there. Got to show that, it's the first time opening one of these today. I got to be careful here. Don't want to jump out. But so here's the model that they did for this, which I kind of appreciate. And I know Frank Zappa was the same way. And I think it is artists that are on Universal. So UMG, Universal Music Group or whatever. What they are doing is they'll announce when the album is coming out. Which is when it is available to retailers and streaming. And they'll say it's coming out July 18th, but you can order the physical copies from our website or UDiscover today. So you cannot stream this record yet. You cannot buy this record on Amazon yet. You cannot buy this record from Joe yet. You can only buy this from the Styx website and or UDiscover, since it's all Universal. So I kind of like that. I think that's a cool kind of model of pushing physical media. The only way you can hear this record is if you go out and buy the physical copy. Now, again, come July, you'll be able to stream it. You'll be able to buy 50 variants of it, I'm sure. All that type of stuff. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
But I think it's kind of a cool thing. Now, what I will say, my brief thing on Styx. I know Tim feels the same way.
Yeah.
Between the time of basically Mr. Roboto and probably about 10 years ago was definitely not the best time, the best of times, if you will, for Styx. But I would say Cyclorama was good. I thought that was a really good record.
Yeah.
When they hit The Mission, which was, I think, 2017 maybe, they did The Mission, and then they did Crash the Crown several years ago, and now this. They are, I don't want to say back. They are just a very different sounding band.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been, it might have been last week.
More proggy for sure.
For sure, more proggy.
Yeah.
I think it was, I was watching last week, and it might have been Daryl talking about it, because he I think Daryl showed a Gowan record last week, probably.
Yeah, he did. That's right.
And it wasn't a correction, but I was like, I kind of wish we got away from just calling Lawrence the Dennis DeYoung replacement, because he is a full-blown composer, artist, songwriter. He is a bona fide member of the band, not just a, I sing the Dennis part and play the Dennis parts. Jury is still out for this one on me. I love The Mission. And I love Crash the Crown. I like this one. Probably need more time with it, but they're strong. I mean, they are strong records. So.
Good.
Yeah.
And that is, and you're right. I do like that. That's almost like bands when they go on tour not using Ticketmaster. Now,
Right.
Unfortunately, that doesn't happen very often. And some have tried, but yeah, that's great.
And that's the only other place you can buy the records. So the only place you can buy them is the Styx store and on tour. They're selling them on tour.
That's cool. I didn't know that, because I was waiting for it to come out. I didn't know you could already get it. That's pretty cool. Now, Crown is awesome. I love Crash the Crown. That's a great album.
Okay. I lost total track of whose turn it was. Did you just go, Joe?
Well, Joe is showing sticks, and then
All right.
I did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did sticks.
And then-
yeah,
So then
and
it's
then
my
we went
turn.
off the rails.
Okay. No,
it
it's
is
all
your
good.
turn. Yes.
Wherever the wind takes us. Okay. It's a little known album that I don't think anybody's heard of before, and I doubt any of you guys own this record. But a little band called Fleetwood Mac. So they have, I think, 17 albums, and this is number 10, I believe. So, I mean, without question, their largest album, and probably one of the largest albums of the entire decade or the history of music in general. Granted, a different lineup than some of the previous albums, because there's been several Fleetwood Mac lineups. So, whether that counts or not, I don't know. But if you look at their discography as a whole, this is the one that stands out, not head and shoulders above the rest. I mean, it's in a complete another orbit. Whether you like it or not, I love it. But a lot of people go, it's too commercial, it's a piece of shit. I can't stand it because I hear it all the time. It's one of the most successful rock albums of all time. So there you go. I mean, if we're talking about big albums in the middle of a career, it doesn't get much bigger than that. So what else do I say about it? Nothing.
Correct.
Is what it is, man.
It is what it is. Alex.
All right, I will keep it moving here. What else? Well, we're gonna keep. I mean, Joe stole. Joe, I had pieces of 8 too. But let's keep it in the same family. I did not check exactly when this came out in the grand scheme of it, but I'm guessing we're probably pretty close to where we need to be. And certainly falls into the same sort of realm that REO came into, and so I'm going to go with Escape from Journey. Another Joe bends down to pick up Escape and or a record within before or after this. Okay, perfect. Yeah. So again, Journey really started in the early 70s as an offshoot of the Santana Band with Greg Rowley and Neil Sean. And so those first 3 Journey records I love. I mean, a lot of people are like, obviously, but the first 3 Journey records sound nothing like what this sounds like at all. Those are all before Steve Perry joins, all that type of stuff. But obviously at this point they are hella mega gigantic artists. Don't Stop Believing, Stone in Love, Who's Crying Now, Keep on Running. And then close out with Open Arms. I mean, this is just everything you want in early 80s FM radio, 81. But I mean, kind of falls right in the middle again. They've done a lot of different stuff. I think their latter era albums are pretty good. Truthfully, I don't own any of them, but I've heard them, and I'm like, for what it is, like I'm cool with it. But my favorite sort of period is the transition period between early and Steve coming in. So when Steve and Greg were sharing a lot of the co-lead vocals and stuff, like on Anytime, like that type of stuff. Like I love that stuff, like 78, 79 period. So that's my favorite, but obviously just huge what a lot of people would say. Like if you're going to start with Journey, go buy this record or the one that Joe was showing. So yeah.
I don't know for sure, but probably right before, maybe 2 before, stuff with Any Way You Want It and that. So, which was a little more rocky than some of the power ballads on Escape. And then Separate Ways, they kind of kicked it back in a little bit again, kind of.
Yep.
Escape was just such a monster at the time, though. It was just like they were just playing everything off of it all the time. It was all day, all Journey every day. So it was massive.
And I do think, a lot of people will credit or blame, depending on who you are, Steve Perry for the sound and all that type of stuff, which obviously is true. But they also had another major lineup change with Jonathan Cain coming in and playing keyboards instead of Greg Rowley, who, Greg's coming from the bluesy, psychedelic, proggy jazz background. Jonathan Cain is coming in from the Babies. And so he's already coming in with that. And with that, I just think the whole Journey shit show that is the organization I just gaggle at. I just think is the funniest thing. But that is, neither here nor there, I suppose. But I will say, too, my claim to fame, the one time I saw Journey was a complete one-off. It was back in 2006. They were touring, of course, with Def Leppard. And so was seeing Journey, but that was right after they had let go of Steve Augeri or whatever, or Augeri, whatever his name was, the original replacement for Steve Perry, who was kind of like a look-alike, sound-alike. But he got like sick or needed like hip replacement, and then in Journey fashion, Neil Schon goes behind doors and he's like, "How about you just leave, you boner?" So they kick him out of the band because he's hurt, as good people do. Neil had to afford his plastic surgery on his stupid-looking face, so they bring in, who do they bring in to sing for one singular tour? None other than Jeff Scott Soto, if that name rings any bells to anybody, who was really at the time known for being on those first couple of Yngwie Malmsteen records, the Rising Force records in the 80s. And then he's actually been a huge, heavily touring member of Trans-Siberian Orchestra doing the baritone parts. And so you're bringing in somebody who doesn't sound at all like Steve Perry, but that was the tour I saw them on. So there you go.
Guy that couldn't hit a high note if you grabbed his nuts and squeezed them.
Oh no! I mean, he talks like he's like 6'5", and he's like, "Hey, everybody!"
Yeah. That puts me in the mind of Separate Ways. Not so much, but I've never seen him. Not for a lack of not wanting to, just not the right place, not the right time. But I think that. We talk a lot about bands that have replaced, like even Fleetwood Mac, right? That was a bit of a switch. Obviously, it wasn't the first one with the new two, but Pineda sounds good. He's got his own style, and but he fits the bill, right? I mean, that's a big part of the change as well. They just never recorded. Did they? They didn't record a lot with him on lead. I don't think, did they?
Who's that?
I don't think. Journey. I don't know if they recorded much. I don't even know that they recorded anything with Pineda. With the
current. Yeah, I mean, I think they've done maybe 4 records with him.
Yeah. So okay, well there you go. Things I should know but don't.
Can't know everything, Joe.
Got to know something though. But anyway,
not here. There's no experts here. So
good, excellent.
Tim.
I'm just happy to have Alex with us. I'm very happy that you're back with us, man. That's great. And Tim, I'm glad that you have decided to get on camera more. That's a good thing. You're going to hear that more often than you want.
It's too much fun, man. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, exactly.
I just like when you pull out of something that's signed and then Alex has a little mini meltdown. And
okay, let's see if I can make him jealous here. I don't know if he likes this stuff though, but this falls in the ballpark for tonight's topic. So they have 8 albums. This is album number 4, and probably their most not their most popular song. Autobahn would be their most popular song.
You could do Kraftwerk?
Yeah, but Kraftwerk.
And you have autographs from Kraftwerk. Good Lord, man.
It's like
it's
like autographs from the Gorillas. Like they're not real people,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No kidding.
It's like a droid who's like,
you have to be in like the right mood for these guys. But they're this is a phenomenal. It's great. It's like pre Daft Punk, like these kind of started it all, really.
Yeah.
And their show is phenomenal. Like all their keyboards light up, and they all glow in the dark, and there's this backdrop behind them, and it's the coolest friggin'. It's just the trippiest gig. It's so cool, and they were really awesome. Nice after the show.
That's awesome.
But
that's great. I mean, I appreciate he signed that big too.
Yeah, I had the original. Where the original they're on the front, all 4 of them. It's not like a blank space,
right?
But yeah, I brought the reissue, and it signs better actually. So
nice, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
But Kraftwerk, yeah, they're good. They like robot Space Lab.
Are the robots?
We are the robots.
Bun, 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 Autobahn. I put that on in the
you
shop.
have got to do an After Dark with Tim. This is going to be fantastic.
What the hell, man?
But yeah, love me some craft work in the right mood.
Okay.
Is there hallucinogenics involved in the right mood when listening to Kraftwerk? Because
yeah,
I
well,
can't say that I can't say that I didn't back in the day. It's been a while since I've combined both Kraftwerk and hallucinogenics, but it may have happened a long time ago.
Well, I listen more to them when I'm, if I'm at work, just on the computer and working and like just kind of background music. I don't listen to them for to sit down and just enjoy. It's more just like an ambiance kind of music, and they're really good. They're really good.
They are. Yeah, you put on Autobahn, right, and it's just that whole side, and get that little honking at the beginning, and then it kind of kicks in, and it's like you're driving along with them. It's good. Yeah. It's very good.
It just, I really like that. The music just kind of moves you along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, Joe.
We going one more?
1, 2, whatever.
Okay. Then I'm going to go with this one. I've got my little cheat sheet. Where are they? 14 studio albums, including one last year that I do not have, but that I understand was very, very good. This happens to be number 7 for The Cure, and it's Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. So I don't think they strayed a lot. Just every once in a while, they got a little more poppy or a little more happy with their songs, I guess. Like Friday I'm in Love, when Robert Smith's least favorite Cure song is the biggest song that they've ever had, I think, but arguably. But phenomenal album. Is it a gatefold? It's not a gatefold. It's a double album, but it's not a gatefold. That sucks, The Cure. What are you doing? I'm sure reissues are gatefolds, but because this is an OG. But good stuff on here. Really good. I'm not always in the mood for the Cure. This is going to sound like a beer commercial, but then I put it on and it's always good stuff. It's not poppy, but it is sometimes. Like what is the song on here? Hot, 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 right? I mean, that's pretty not dance music-y, but you can move to it. It's got a beat, as they used to say on Bandstand, but The Cure, right in the middle, continue to put out music, continue to tour, continue to do stuff. Robert Smith looks as weird as he ever did, but good stuff I always enjoy. So there you go. And yes, Richard, you are correct. They definitely had some videos that came off of that one. There was some great stuff before that, some great stuff after it. But yeah, that was that kind of kicked them in a little bit. Disintegration, I guess a little bit as well, right?
Sean, thanks for watching, man. Unfortunately, the reality is that the majority of the vinyl community are dudes. So we love to have more women on here, but there aren't that many that are doing. There's a few, but not that many.
There's a new young lady out of Denver, I think. She's a online record shop, and she bought some insane 90s collection, and she's been doing a few videos. I can't remember.
She's far too famous. She's far too famous to be on this shit show that we have. She took off.
Oh no!
Oh
no!
We're just bush league here, so we're like a single A farm team.
I think she started 2 weeks ago and has just a ton of followers already, rightfully so, because she does a nice job. Absolutely. And it's interesting Great stuff. Job. But yeah, her videos are getting 5,000 views.
Well, she had Mazzy plug her right out of the gate, so that kind of helps things. But
that'll help.
Does a great job though. Absolutely.
Agreed. Yeah, for sure.
If we would have more women on here. There's just not a lot of women that want to get on here and talk about records with a bunch of guys. So we could Alex can put a wig on. Do you have a wig there, Alex, you can put on? Or a mop, maybe?
Shoot. Gotta go find another record. Hold on.
That's Alex Polite wig on. Fuck off. All right, my turn.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a guy that I don't know. That's like 87 albums, I think. And you could argue has had several peaks. I'm going to go here. Would you agree, Joe?
Yeah, for sure.
So The Boss, this is his 6th or 7th studio album. So in the grand scheme of things, because he's been playing music for 40 years, this is near the beginning. But it is his 6th or 7th album, and there are a lot of artists that don't get as far as putting 6 albums out. So I don't know how this was received at the time, because I would have been about probably 5 years old at the time. But I think now it's viewed with a great, and Joe could offer some better perspective on this than I can, but I think this is regarded as with a lot more reverence, I think, than many of his other studio albums nowadays. So
yeah, I mean, I think at the time everybody was looking for more Born to Run, right? They didn't want mellow Bruce and acoustic Bruce, and it was the opposite of when Dylan went acoustic or went electric.
Right.
It was the opposite, right? It was like, no, that's not the way we on our Bruce Springsteen. Anyway, I apologize. Go ahead.
no, I just I think you look at his catalog now, and Born to Run is the big one, and then I think this is pretty highly regarded, and I don't know that Born in the USA gets much buzz anymore, because it's it's too commercial. But then you look at stuff further down the line, like Wrecking Ball or The Promise; those are fairly highly regarded as well. But I mean, this is a pretty big blockbuster nowadays through the lens of retrospection. This is pretty highly regarded. So pretty damn good effort for a 6th studio album.
Yeah, and he's about to bring. I was going to say he's about to double his output with the box set coming out. Not quite, because it's only 9 albums, but it's crazy. It's crazy the amount of work the man has done. So it's just so good.
Absolutely. Okay, Alex.
Okay, yeah, I went to grab another because I went dry. Band release 19 studio albums. This is number 10, so it will be in the middle. And I do think this is kind of cool, because, like, to me, this is a band that has had a lot of different eras. They've had a lot of different singers. They've had a fair amount of different sounds, but they've always been sort of at the forefront, and arguably, the first heavy metal band of all time or whatever. And I will say too, every time I look at this album cover, I'm like, that's the best album cover I've ever seen in my life. Like, it's not like Revolver. It's just a very different thing. But I'm like, I can feel this album cover. But anyway, I'm going to go with Black Sabbath, Mob Rules. Man, look at that shit. Look at that. Oh,
yes, sir.
God.
Yep.
That's just the best.
It gives me Slave to the Grind vibes.
Oh, big time, for sure.
Yeah.
But 10 years before it,
Yeah.
So but I love it. So, and I mean, the crazy with for the non-Sabbath fans, you're talking thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. You like that hard part right there, baby girl? Okay. The point is, this was the second record with Ronnie James Dio singing, and kind of similar in the sense that, Heaven and Hell was really kind of a comeback record, because the last several records that were released with Ozzy were not great. Technical Ecstasy and, Never Say Die. And it was kind of like, where's this band going? What are they doing? And then it's like, you know what? Let's bring in Ronnie from I guess, Rainbow at the time. And it was like, let's bring him in, and a completely different sound. But it's like, it's no longer this doomy, sludgy thing, but now we're kicking it into overdrive. And so I love Heaven and Hell. I love Mob Rules. Sometimes I like them more than sort of the classic Sabbath era records, but talk about a huge kind of, I don't want to say comeback, because again, Heaven and Hell sort of served in that way, but I like Mob Rules. And again, just look at that. I'm staring at you.
Oh, yeah. I was going to go with Heaven and Hell, and then
there you go.
They went off my list. I'm not sure why, but yeah. And again,
I'm glad we have each other's back on this, Joe.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So those 2 that I sent you, that was just proof of hair. That's what those were. I tried to bring them up so you could show them, but I couldn't. I'm on the wrong computer. So
those are fantastic, Joe. Oh,
those are forever ago. The one with the 4 is, we were in Calgary for the Whiplash Smile Tour for Billy Idol, so that would have been 80 whatever. So anyway,
hold on.
Yeah, you can maybe do that. So
there's
you go.
hold on. This I gotta Here we go.
I guess I could have done it that way too. Yeah.
There's Joe, everybody. Look at Joe. Holy
Look at all that hair. Look at all
Look
that
at the
hair.
Look at
It
the
was there. Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. It was there. I don't even think I wasn't. Yeah. No, I was drinking then still. Yeah. No, I was drinking then still.
Okay, well, since we're doing that, Joe, there's Rob with hair.
Oh, there you go. See?
There you go.
Yeah. We've had it. We had it at one point. So our heads just grew up through our hair. That's the only problem. So
That's right.
yeah, it was a buddy of mine's birthday yesterday, and I sent her a happy birthday note, and she always had her camera around, and so she said, "Oh, we're going through pictures," and sent me those. So anyway,
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Do we want to do one more round to wrap this thing up? Do you guys have any more to show?
I've got one. Well, I've got ones that I'm not sure if it counts as it's close. So I just kind of.
There's no rules here, Tim. And we're
right.
just hanging out.
I got enough for one. I got enough here for one more round at least.
All right, do one more. You're up.
So it's a twofer because I don't know if the math works out, but it kind of does because they've been around like it's well into their career, and they did stuff after it. I just don't know if the math works out where it's exactly halfway.
Doesn't have to be.
But we got Heart. That's
Yeah.
probably halfway, right?
Yeah.
That
They
is
had their
exactly-
70s stuff, then they had their 80s.
Yeah.
And then their 90s stuff kind of, and then they fizzled out in the 2000s, I think, right? So I'd say that's about halfway.
It is, yeah, because I was going to pull that one too, and that is pretty much halfway for studio albums for the girls. Yes.
But yours isn't signed like his is, Joe.
No,
They were
it
nice.
isn't.
Yeah. They were like just from the bus. Like they don't like to interact with anybody. So there was this massive guy, like 10 times the size of me, comes out, "What do you got?" And like, so he brings it to Nancy's bus. She signs it, brings it to Ann's, but they have their own bus, and
God damn.
and then he gives it back. So it's like I didn't. Yeah.
Who cares? He still got it signed.
Yeah. And then this one again, like around in the 70s. This comes out in the 80s, and then he was around in the 90s, but didn't really, kind of fizzled out. And that's of course Brothers in Arms, Dire Straits, Mark Knopfler, which is also a great album.
Very much so. Yep.
Yeah. And I think this is a gatefold because this is no, it's not. No, it is a reissue, but no gatefold.
Very nice.
But I feel I had to mention that one since it kind of worked out. What can you say about this record, right?
I mean, I already trashed it earlier, Tim. So.
I mean, I know. I mean, you want your money for nothing and your chicks for free, right?
No, and I got to pay for both. Okay.
Richard's saying he saw Hart on the Private Audition tour in '83. John Cougar opened and he was better. Wow, that'd be a show.
I saw them 3 times. I saw them on the Black Velvet tour or whatever, or Red Velvet Corvette or whatever. It was like maybe 15 years ago, and then they actually just came around a year ago. But Nancy was Anne is in rough shape. She's in a wheelchair and she was okay, but the year prior I saw her a year and a half ago, where she was out on her own. And Wilson and she was with a band, and they have a record. And she was phenomenal.
Remember that they were out together, or they were out on their own, and they're back out together again. So
yeah, and she was phenomenal just a year and a half ago, just before this Heart reunion.
Yeah,
great.
I saw them together as Heart about just a little over a year ago. But she they had to cancel a lot of tours because she had cancer and she went through chemo. So I think a lot of her recovery, like wheelchair, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, she stood up through most of the show. Like she has like a stool, but like I'm like, homegirl, like 75 years old and
have a seat.
Like have a fucking right.
He doesn't look. Yeah,
don't care. Yeah,
I'll bring the Hoa brownie if I need to. Like you do what you need to.
She can sing her ass off, eh? Like
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Nancy can still get it, but
oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, what's your last one?
All right, we're doing one.
You do 2 if you want, whatever. I got one left.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. I'll do one. Which one though? Let's do this. We'll keep it Canadian, eh? Take off, you hosers. How's the hockey game going? Have you checked lately?
Well, let's check right now.
Look at these young, fresh-faced boys in the middle of their career, actually.
Oh, Rush,
A
nice.
little bit of Rush.
All right.
And and Grace Under Pressure. So Rush has released, where is it? I should know this off the top of my head, but I don't. 19 studio albums, multiple live albums, but 19 studio albums, and this was the 10th. And this is part of the time frame where it was like, there's too many keyboards in the Rush songs. Stop putting so many keyboards into the Rush songs. Anyway, I like this album. There's not a bad Rush album, and I'm not an insane Rush fan. I am a big fan. I enjoy Rush, but I'm not crazy. I like to slap at a bass every once in a while. But Red Sector A, Distant Early Warning, it's just good stuff on here. But this is middle of the career, still did well. Still had a couple of hit singles off of that, and I don't know if that is our benchmark for good albums, because Snakes and Arrows was a fantastic album. It didn't have any singles off it per se, but it was still a fantastic album because it was still Rush and really, really good. So there you go. That is what I will end with, a little Rush with 19 studio albums, and that was number 10.
Okay, very good.
How many times have you seen Rush?
Twice, just twice. And it was later. It was the last couple of tours, actually. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
I'm going to end this with some Canadian content too that most people don't give a crap about, but whatever. Matt Mays, who I love, has released 8 studio albums, 9 if you count the one that he did with the Guthries before he went solo. And this is number 5, so, pretty damn close to the middle. And this album was so good that it won the Juno for the Rock Album of the Year. This is most highly regarded album. It's fantastic. Great straight-up rock record. There's a picture in the middle of Matt rocking his Gibson SG on stage. Some amazing songs on here. Take It On Faith. Yeah, probably the big one. This is the white vinyl version. I don't know if I have it in the sleeve. You can see it. There you go, white vinyl. Great record.
Where'd you get that sleeve from?
Oh, well, Joe, it's funny that you should mention that, because there is a place on the internet. I'm trying to remember what it's called now.
I think it's Vinyl Storage Solutions. Seems to ring a bell. VinylStorageSolutions.ca, I think.
I think. Oh yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah,
there it is. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Cool.
Go to their website.
Yeah.
Get any kind of record sleeve that you want. You can scan the code there. It takes you right to the website. And if you use the promo code Northern 10, you get 10% off your record sleeves.
Cheers.
So there you go. Boy, we left that right till the very end, didn't we, Joe?
We did, but that's all right. And I think, I'm not positive, I think they've actually got $5 base shipping right now, too. Like, I think they actually have some sort of a deal on top of every other great thing that you want to get from Vinyl Storage Solutions using your Northern 10 promo code. I think they also, they also have a $5 flat shipping rate currently. Do they not?
They do. They do. Absolutely.
There you go. I didn't mean to interrupt. It just, I wondered.
Those
sleeves look fantastic.
It was a timely interjection. We'll call it that. So, yeah, it's. That to Richard's point. This is a common tale among Canadian artists. It's pretty hard to break through that giant imaginary wall that is the 49th parallel. So, it's a great rock musician. So there you go. Matt Mays, middle of career, won a Juno, which is like a Canadian Grammy. So
no Bryan Adams or Blue Rodeo, Rob.
Well, I thought you were
going to play that card.
If you really want me to.
No, he didn't say he wanted you to.
You cat's out of the bag now. Write this down.
Damn it! Oh no, that's okay. That's all right.
I'm going to
Oh,
go. So here you go. This is their, what do they have, like 15 studio albums? This is number 5, I think. This is about 12 years into their career. 5 Days in July is without question their magnus opus. It is their answer to Neil Young's Harvest. It is their greatest album. And Music Talk from John reviewed this, and it was a good review, but he does not understand the album, and that's okay. That's okay. What do you want to show there, Tim? We probably should show that.
Oh no, I just like I was holding on to this, waiting for you to drop this or something. That's
well,
all.
I mean, Joe would feel left out if we didn't
that
talk
record.
about his favorite artist. So
I probably would have been okay. But that's all right if we brought him up as well. And for those that are watching in the north of the 49th parallel, there is a big Blue Rodeo tour coming up with Adam Baldwin, and I am looking very much forward to that for both bands. Actually,
yeah, all 3 of us are. Tickets go on sale on Friday.
Yeah,
so,
yep.
I'll be there at 10. I'll be refreshing for sure.
Yeah,
I want to see Adam Baldwin.
Me too. I mean, I've seen Adam Baldwin probably 10 times. I've seen Blue Rodeo 54 times, and Alex is bored out of his mind waiting for his turn. So we'll make it Alex.
I got no turn. No, I got nothing.
You got nothing.
Well,
That's it.
You're well ran dry. All right then. Well, that's good.
I saw Sarah McLachlan getting ready for a show the other night, and the folks from Whitehorse were alongside with her, of course, and they were all happy and joyful to be back out on the road again. Because I think Sarah had some issues for a little bit. She had postponed some shows, but they're back out on the road. I think. Yeah,
could be. I'm waiting for another album from Whitehorse. They haven't had one in a number of years. They did drop a new single just recently, but no word on whether there's a new album or not. I hope there is. No one cares except for maybe Joe, maybe Tim, but Luke and Melissa, who are both on 6 Shooter Records, their last solo records have just been issued for the very first time on vinyl through 6 Shooter Records.
Who?
So Luke and Melissa from Whitehorse.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go off the check.
So Luke's last, or not his third to last solo record, which is called Broken, that's coming out. And then Melissa's last solo record, which I think is called Liberty, they're coming out on vinyl. So I've got them pre-ordered. They're out next month. So very exciting. No one else that's watching gives a shit. So other than
no, Richard does. Richard gives a shit. Richard listens to. Yeah, Richard is always here listening, and that's fantastic. I love that he comes on with us, and I love that he's always here listening to us as well. So
exactly. Well, as we always do at the end of an episode, we just go around the horn and you can plug your channel and talk about what you want to talk about. So, Alex, you're our last minute guest. So, anything going on over at Beer and Vinyl? What's happening in your world?
No, not really. Been pretty swamped in work last week and next week. So, I mean, I just regardless of what people say about the algorithms, I'm okay if I don't post a video for a few weeks, and I, along with everybody else, will survive that, and it'll be okay. So there are more important things to me than figuring out the algorithm, you know. So let's say nothing happening immediately, but always just your fair share of nonsense of drinking beers and showing records, man. That's what we do here at Beer and Vinyl. Rob, Joe, Tim, that's what we do.
That's it, man.
Absolutely.
Amen, brother.
Tim should start a channel, but he doesn't have one. But you're going to see.
I will. Yeah, I will at some point. When I get the time. Yeah. Sure.
But you're going to a concert tomorrow night.
I'm going tomorrow night to see Mike Campbell. I can't wait for that. And then next week, the Governor General's Performing Arts is next weekend, and Bob Erzin is being presented. And
nice.
So I might try. If there's tickets remaining for that, I might go and see if I can get him to sign the wall or something.
That's cool.
Yeah. Other than that, it's pretty quiet. Yeah. Is anything else on that coming up? No. That's pretty much it for me.
All right. Joe, what's going on with you? The store, whatever.
Yep. Store's rolling on. I haven't got anything out from the store for a bit. Might do something tomorrow when I'm back in. Going to go see ZZ Top and the Wallflowers, as I said, on Saturday. So looking forward to that. And I'll do sometimes what I do, which is promote a video from a different channel. I'm not sure if you guys have had a chance to watch Sam's latest video or not yet. Sam St. John, our buddy Americana Sam. He's got a new one that he just posted about the vinyl community and his thoughts on it. And I thought it was pretty good. So here, I'll promote that. Go and watch Sam and Americana Sam and watch his video.
Very good. Very good.
And then
As
were
for
you
myself, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I don't know if you were on the live one on Sunday. I don't think you were this last weekend.
No, I wasn't. The wife had me busy doing yard work.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be back on it next week or this week or whatever it is. But as for me, I did a video. What did I do last week? Well, last week I did an unboxing. I had some VCLT from Keith from Attack Down Under. He kindly sent me a box full of stuff, and it was great. And I thoroughly enjoyed that stuff, and it's been getting a lot of listens. So he introduced me to Paul Kelly, who's an Australian folk rock artist, I guess you'd say. Right up my alley. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So that's that. I think this week's video is probably going to be my thoughts on the reissue of the Beatles mono box. So.
Have there been
we need another person weighing in with their opinion on that topic.
Well, it'll get views at least.
Have there been?
You don't have the original mono box, do you, Rob?
No, I bought all of I couldn't afford the box, so I bought all the records individually when they came out. So I have the records, I don't have the box.
Right, and then obviously got like original UKs. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't need it. I'm not going to get it. I think it's fantastic. Spoiler alert, everybody. I think it's fantastic that it's being reissued because those mono remasters are incredible. I'm not an audiophile, but I think they sound amazing. And for folks that missed it the first time around, I'm glad it's back there. It's great.
Yeah, I've got a few. I've got like Rubber Soul, Revolver, Magical Mystery too. Like I've got a few monos. But yeah, I had to jump on the box to get them all because buying them individually now is just, and getting first pressings, and it's too much work. It's too much work. So I jumped on it.
I've been working for 10 years to get original mono pressings from England, and well, there's a couple that you can only get in stereo, and I think I'm 3 away from having them all. But man, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, like I told you before, like that's all my Beatles here. This Calyx.
Yeah.
But like I had to stop because I didn't want to go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it. No.
I jumped head first down
pretty big rabbit hole already there.
Yeah, that's a pretty big husk you're in.
Entire shelf full of a band that released like 8 records. Yeah, I had to stop.
Yeah.
I
got the stupid 3-inch there. You know that stupid 3-inch that came out a year or two ago?
Yeah.
I jumped on it.
I didn't do that.
I'm a fucking idiot.
I thought I had a lot of Beatles records, but you have me beat, Tim, for sure.
Man out here buying 3-inch records, but he doesn't want to go down the rabbit hole. Okay.
Like
right.
like things like things like this. Like what am I gonna do? What in Christ's name am I gonna do with this? Like it's a wooden crate.
Holy fuck.
So it's a collection of. It came out on Paul McCartney's website, and it's just a collection of 7 inches. So I don't want to open it up because it's a pain in the fucking ass. But like it's just a collection of 7 inches, all his 7 inches in this crate. Like,
and I would argue that most of his singles were shit. Yes.
I agree to disagree, but
it certainly is not the caliber of what he put out with.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I stopped. I'm like, no, I can't go down this rabbit hole.
You're in there, but you're in the rabbit hole.
I think Rob, Tim, you're both making this point. Of like, I know a lot of people up in Canada it was a little bit different. But what I did watch though was that technically by USD translate or was it whatever. that the Canadian dollar amount that people would have to pay was actually the best deal.
Oh, that's what I heard.
So, I don't know if it was like an error or something, but I mean, still obviously would have been absurd. But what's crazy is, I think it was, retailing for at least USD $545,
which is like $700 and something dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, interestingly enough, though, I think like Rob, you were mentioning it, this, like those individual, like I think the Revolver Mono single LP goes for like $120.
They're pretty much all over $100.
Yeah. And you're never, good luck finding a white album in mono.
Yeah.
That's one of your grails, kind of, right, Rob?
What's that?
Do you have the original UK mono of the white album?
No, that's one of the few that I need.
Yeah.
One of the three. I need that. That's actually the only mono one that I need. And then the other two were not available mono. I still need an original UK Yellow Submarine, and I need to Let It Be. I've got everything else.
Was Let It Be ever released in mono?
No, stereo.
Oh, you're just saying you need an original UK of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because that would have been an original UK of it. Because that would have also been, well, this. The US was the only place that didn't come as a box set, right?
Right.
We got the gatefold. What a deal!
I have the US gatefold, and then I have the Canadian original box set. So
yeah.
I don't care to get the original UK box set. I just want a record that came from the box set for Let It Be. But
okay.
But even those, ones I'm missing, like Yellow Submarine, I think generally is regarded as pretty much shit. It's not very good. That original UK.
Well, I like that 99. What's that 90? The one that came out in late 90 with the yellow vinyl.
Oh yeah, that one's good. That one's
good.
Yeah, it's the remake. Yeah, that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have that. But the original one from '68 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It kind of.
To be fair, it's like not a great, but it's also not supposed to be. It's
right.
It's like a half record. It's like
it's a half record. Absolutely, it's a couple singles and some throwaway shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody's ever in Regina, I've got a 2014 box set mono for sale at the shop. So if anybody's ever in Regina,
what's the tag on that, Joe?
I've got it at 2,000, which I think is
price,
fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. And then if someone came in and offered maybe a little less, probably take it too. So, but I know what we paid for it, so that helps, right?
And I'm curious how much, if at all, the perceived value of the 2014 box fluctuates based on the recent announcement.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure I don't know how that's going to play out, because I don't think many, if any, of these have been played. And the book is still sealed. It's got the sleeve that goes over it and that, so it's pretty much minty. But yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen to it, whether that's still a legitimate price or not, because it sold out, I think, did it not? So
it did.
It's still at this point unavailable. It wasn't for about a week, but it's still unavailable now. So, and
Tim, you got one?
What's that?
You were able to snag one before it sold out?
I did. From the Canadian site.
Right on. Good.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
guys, I haven't told anybody, but I got one.
Oh, did you?
I totally bought one. But
good for you.
And I will say this too. It was legit out of, well, I don't want to say legit out of FOMO. My idea behind this is that obviously the biggest thing is just dropping the money, right? I mean, it's like so much money, all these different things. But I'm sitting there and I was like, Alex, you have you have at least $600 in Beatles shit back there that you no longer need. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because actually I have the 2014 Revolver Mono individual disc that kind of blew my mind, because when I first started buying records, there was some gal on Facebook Marketplace who was just like, I'm selling 4 records. And it was like, it was like Beatles Revolver. It was the Score by the Fugees. Like, it was like some pop record. Like, it was like 4 records. And she's like, I'm asking for $50. And I was like, those are good albums. I'm getting $600 a month in stimulus checks. Give me that.
Start the car.
At the time, I was like, I don't even know what reissue is. And then, like, later down the line, I was like, oh, that's a Revolver like a mono, like what is this one? And so I was like, oh my God, that's it. And then I do have the Revolver box set that comes with the mono again. So I was like, well, shit, between those two, that's probably $250 of the $600, right? Just in those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, last question that I have for you, Rob. Have there been any or will there be any Ice Ice Baby dance parties in your house, and will they be filmed?
Yes. No.
Okay. But there has
Yeah.
been a dance party?
Oh, hell yeah. As soon as I put it on, my kid was busting out the moves. So
That's good. Right on. Good.
Yeah. That's
good.
one of those. I don't know how the hell I know every word of that fucking song, but I do. And so it's just kind of one of those time capsule things where, like, hey, Parker, listen to this stupid shit from when I was younger, right?
What about Snow's Informer?
Oh my God, that's like the worst one ever. Jesus.
Spice Girls, baby.
Poser.
Spice Girls.
Well, listen, I am unabashedly a Spice Girl fan, so that's a whole different thing. I'm not a Vanilla Ice fan, but that song is just, it's just one of those oddities. So yeah, when I put it on, Parker started running around acting like, oh my God, look at this.
Yeah, I saw
I
that.
saw Vanilla Ice in concert. That's fantastic.
Stop.
That's fantastic.
That's great. All right.
All right, guys.
That was my last
a lot
question
of
for
fun.
you.
You got more questions?
No, that was
Or
the last one.
Okay.
No, or if I come up with something, I'll text you.
Yeah.
Opening for
enough.
MC Hammer. I
my
saw
God.
Hammer. Hammer was awesome. It was too legit, too quick.
Jesus.
Go Ninja,
Tim?
go Ninja, go.
Tim and Alex, thank you for joining us, guys. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was good.
Alex, good to see you again. And Tim, man, what a great addition to our roster of guests, man. You're awesome. And anytime you want to do another one, man, just let us know.
If you're a man short, ring me up.
All right. Perfect. Guys, that was a lot of fun. Check out Alex at Beer and Vinyl. Tim's going to start a channel at some point in time, and we're all going to subscribe to it. Check out Joe at On a Vinyl or Racer Records. To all the folks watching, thank you very much. It's been fun interacting with you and the folks that are going to watch this later. We appreciate your time. We will see all of you next week, and Daryl will be back with us next week. So thanks, everybody. Have a good night, and we will see you next week.